get to our final thoughts and predictions.
All right, so here we go. What's going on? We got 4 minutes until the polls close. It should be an interesting situation today. I don't know who's going to be. I don't know exactly what's going to happen here with this situation, but it should be good here.
A couple of things. I think the biggest upset's going to be Don Bolduc in New Hampshire. He's going to owe everybody nothing.
Hey, g'day, Jake. How are you? Thanks for joining the stream. Hopefully, you're going to be watching the midterms with me for a while. We'll be here for a few hours. Like I say, I'm thinking there's going to be a couple of. Sorry, my hair's an absolute travesty. I really do need a haircut. Sorry about that. All right, so the reason I'm here, I say the reason I'm wearing a Christmas shirt. Well, it's the only red shirt that I own. But also, I feel like, tonight's going to be, Christmas night for the Republicans. I really do think it's going to be a huge night for the Republicans to get this win. So.
53 seats in the Senate, and if we get New Hampshire, that's 54, and then I say Republicans hit 242 in the House.
Like I'm saying, I'm thinking there could be I think it might be a red tsunami. Honestly, I really do think it's a red tsunami that's going to happen. That's actually going to be sitting here watching Fox News.
And that becomes the center Monday, right? I think,
Tuesday. Let me give a final thought because I just want to say that it's been an amazing run of this election cycle. It really did start on January 20th, 2021. Our viewers at Fox News, and especially for the five, you've all been amazing. Thank you for sticking with us. We appreciate you very much. I hope to stay for special coverage. It starts in just a little bit. So stay tuned. We have a lot more coming. Martha and Brett are next. Here it goes.
I don't know, there's something going on here that's the computer is just deciding to be.
Congress will be determined tonight. With key battlegrounds still in play.
Okay, good. There we go.
Republicans need to gain
All right, hopefully. All right, yeah, good.
Will tonight solidify the president's agenda. Now, America must choose. After months of campaigning, it all comes.
All right, so here we go. Get ready, people. It's time for the death of democracy. If you believe the Dems, oh man, are they silly? Actually, let me let that mute the mic. Hopefully I can test the microphone level. What's going on here? Well, if you're a Democrat voter, apparently, if you're Joe Biden, absolutely death of democracy. Oh, I still can't believe that he would say that, man. That's insane. So, like I said, we're here watching Fox News, now comes the fun part here. The polls have closed on the East Coast. So let's just wait and see what's going on. But at the moment, I'm definitely thinking. Florida is definitely going to go Republican. I think Georgia, New York.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Brett Baer.
Good evening, everyone.
I definitely think. I'm not sure. And also, what other states are that the polls have closed at the moment. But I definitely do think Florida, Georgia, and possibly even New York, and possibly even New York will go red. Because I think Zeldin's got a huge chance with what's happening here.
Voters have been lined up at the polls throughout the day today. Georgia's polls close in the next hour, and Pennsylvania the hour after that.
But not all states count and report their votes the same way. And here's where it's going to get pretty tricky. And we're going to guide you through this tonight. Georgia, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin are known to be historically slow counting states.
Yeah, this is going to end well.
Opening the mail-in ballots at 7 a.m.
I'm not going
on
to
election day.
say anything that could get me demonetized on this one, but I think it'll be interesting, and I'll put it that way.
That's why we always warn against what's called the red or blue mirage. It may seem.
Hey, g'day, Fish. How are you? Thanks for joining. Thanks for coming in.
Advantage, but it may be short-lived. We'll guide you through this as the night goes on.
So this election comes as our nation deals with crises on multiple fronts. We've got runaway inflation. We have out-of-control crime. And we have a disaster that has unfolded on the southern border. Tonight, we'll be
I'm definitely thinking this
prioritized and what gets
this is going to be
put to the
huge.
side.
Yeah, well, yeah, true. It's election season there because.
First, on the Senate side of the Congress, where both parties have no room for error, there are 50 Republicans and 48 Democrats in the Senate, but you've got 2 independents who caucus with the Democrats. That makes a total of 50 for each party.
Yeah,
so
I'm thinking.
Have control because they have Vice President Harris's tie-breaking vote. Republicans need to gain just 1 seat to take the majority. So the Senate could come down
Does that make sense?
to just a few key races.
Now over to the House side, Captain.
Yeah, that's true.
Razor-thin majority with 220 seats, while Republicans have 212. There are 3 vacancies, with 1 likely to remain in Republican hands after a special election. That would mean the GOP needs a net gain of 5 seats to take control of the House. We have more than 25 reporters.
Yeah, this is going to be a fascinating election to watch throughout the day. So like I said, while we're here, just at the start of it, because the polls are closed, so now we're just going to wait here just at the start of it. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. This will be my first genuinely long form video with just me in front of it talking, because I'm not used to having the camera in front of me. So like I said, I'm wearing the Christmas shirt mainly as well. A, it's the only red shirt that I've got, and B, like I said, I really think this is going to be this will be Christmas for Republicans. I really do think it.
Back in the upper Midwest, however, in Wisconsin, we find Ron Johnson trying to find a 3rd term, defending his seat against a progressive newcomer by the name of Mandela Barnes, age 35.
Wisconsin to be interesting. I think, Buffy, I'm sure you do. And one of my best friends actually made the thumbnail. She's very talented. She's an amazing photographer as well. I'm not sure if she has a store or not. She hasn't just sponsored me, so I can't, say what her Etsy is. I believe she's on Etsy and she sells photographs. She's an unbelievably talented photographer.
Also in the American West, stay up late for us tonight because it might be in the state of Nevada where Adam Laxalt's been leading against Catherine Cortez Masto. Republicans think they've got a good shot at that race. We'll see whether or not they're right.
The two states that I think will be dark horses. The 2 states that I think. I don't know if the margin's within like 2 or 3 points. I think I'm going to call that as a Republican win, and that is Oregon and Washington. Like seeing the fact is that there's been a lot of interesting polling going in Oregon and Washington that the Republicans have been getting a lot of momentum in the last couple of weeks over there. So I know. Hopefully the election's close.
There are 26 seats that are
well, I'm gonna call it that.
The margin in the House, and we may not
if New York turns red, then it's a guaranteed tsunami. It's a guaranteed red tsunami. That's really what I think is that if New York turns red, if Zeldin gets elected in New York, then it's it's an absolute red tsunami. That's my take on it. That's what I think is going to happen.
From a polling location in Bensalem, Pennsylvania. Hi, Ryan.
Martha, good evening. Polls in Pennsylvania close at 8 p.m., except in Luzerne County, where a judge has ordered polling places to stay open until 10 p.m. after some locations ran out of the paper needed to tabulate votes in voting machines.
Oh, okay, that sounds interesting.
A lot of Republican votes. President Trump won that county by 14 points in 2020. This morning, polling workers began processing what could be as many as 1.4 million mail-in ballots statewide. Counting will continue overnight until they're finished. Initially, Philadelphia officials said they would be done counting by Wednesday morning, but now it could take several days after the Board of Elections.
Well, they do keep on saying it'll take days.
A security procedure.
Especially with Democrats. Like I said, I'm not going to try and say anything about it. I mean, I'm not going to try and badmouth the Democrat Party, even though I truly believe they don't care about America or Americans.
Mail-in ballots could be a major
I mean, Biden, let's face it, what do he said he's going to shut down all the coal plants, he's going to shut down drilling, he's going to, and then he's trying to make, and I can't even with Biden, like I said, I think Biden's an absolute idiot, and probably the worst president since Jimmy Carter, to be perfectly honest. That's what I think. You know what I mean?
By selling a bipartisan message on bringing balance to Washington. The Oz campaign, Martha tells us, they're feeling good in places like
so like I said, I kind of like the next polls will close in about 52 minutes.
Turnout has exceeded 2018 midterm levels by 4 p.m. today before people even got out of work. Martha?
All right, and an extra hour for Luzerne County. Brian, thank you very much.
Now let's head over to Atlanta, where Aisha Hazi is reporting from Herschel Walker's campaign headquarters. Good evening, Aisha.
I said, I can't wait to see the celebrations that'll happen. Like I said, I think it'll be interesting.
Republican insiders are telling us tonight that they do believe that Herschel Walker could squeeze out a victory tonight and avoid a runoff. And there are a couple of reasons why. Number one, they say that Herschel Walker has the momentum, did have the momentum going into Election Day. He was able to close the gap with Raphael Warnock, and he was able to shore up his base in the end, despite those early abortion claims, which, of course, he denied. Number two, he's getting a pretty big pull from incumbent Governor Brian Kemp in that successful campaign. And finally, this might be the biggest factor of all, Brett, inflation.
This could be fun.
Top issue.
Like I said, I do think Walker's going to get it. It'll be a pretty close election, I think, for Walker. I think he might get it in about 5 points. I think that'll be my.
That he's preparing for it. The Democrat even hinted this at a canvassing event earlier today. He said whether it's tonight or next month that he believes Georgia will pick the right candidate. Now, the way to avoid a runoff in Georgia is to break the 50% threshold. Coming in today, we were looking at a whopping 2.5 million early voters already. Brett?
Aisha, thank you.
So Fox News voter analysis will explain the trends that we're seeing as the results start to roll in. Shannon is going through all that. Shannon, good evening to you. What are you seeing so far?
All right, it's good to see you guys. We've been asking voters around the country, more than 100,000 of them, how they voted and why. So this is our first look tonight at Fox News voter analysis. We've got a new method to analyze their decisions and to tell you why they voted the way they did. The top concern for voters, not surprising, it is the economy. Nearly half of the electorate, 47% that we talked to, say the economy is the most important issue facing
Makes
the country.
sense. Like I said, I think Biden's, Biden has very gleefully screwed up the country.
Immigration at 9%, the climate at 9%. Now, the highest numbers, if you dig in here, you can see there are sections of the country where these colors are most intense. So right here, I would say we've got a group, Idaho, Wyoming, and Utah, and Oklahoma in the middle of the country. They say there that the economy is their biggest worry. Essentially, it's the economy, stupid. So let's check in here to see what else we can tell you about the numbers so far. Inflation at a 40-year high. We asked, who do voters blame? 54% of them say the president and his policies.
Over half the country, over half of these voters think that.
For you in Ohio, we're watching closely tonight. Democrat Tim Ryan is distancing himself from President Biden. The Republican in this race, J.D. Vance, was endorsed by President Trump, yet roughly equal numbers of Buckeye voters think that Ryan supports Biden too much and that Vance supports Trump too much. We'll see how that filters out in the votes tonight. And a final tidbit for you.
Actually, Ohio is going to be interesting too. Tim Ryan and J.D. Vance. I think that'll be a great one to see. That'll be an exciting battle to watch.
2 years ago. That could signal trouble to the White House tonight. We'll dig deeper into the numbers and get back to you on this soon. Right, Martha?
Thank you, Shannon.
Let's bring in Fox News senior political analyst Bert Hume and Dana Prano, co-anchor of America's Newsroom, co-host of The Five. Dana, you just got off set. What were you thinking about tonight?
Yes, it was a nice night out there in New York City.
Apparently pretty brisk out there too.
It was very interesting to be sitting with my colleagues of the Five, and I'm sure it is for you in many ways to think about how this midterm cycle has really been going on since January 20th of 2021. And the history repeats itself. Midterms are usually won by the opposing party from the president. I think one of the most interesting things tonight is to watch this Fox News voter analysis. Washington and many of the states across the country are going to have a lot of changes when they wake up tomorrow by the end of the week when we have final results. And so a lot of what informs their decisions going forward on how to govern the country, what the people are asking for, if government is responsive to the people, it will have to really take a listen to what people are saying in that Fox News voter analysis. It's very interesting tonight.
Great to have you with us, as always. It's a measure of where the country stands, how it feels about the current president and what's been going on. It's an opportunity to
like I said, I think, this is like a referendum on Biden, but I think I think what you're going to see right here is just, and I'm going to quote Steve Hilton here. What we're going to see is just an absolutely massive, just pure repudiation of what Biden's done over the past 2 years. I mean, he's cost God knows how many energy workers their job. My hair is
and comes in, you might imagine with these conditions, with the public feeling the way it does about the economy and about the direction of the country. So, this is interesting, and control is on the line. It isn't always in these midterms. Usually it just tilts one way or the other. It's very much on the line.
There's some shifts that we're seeing in these numbers in different demographics, Hispanics, blacks.
Hispanics and blacks moving more toward, they're not, Republicans, not many Republicans are going to win the Hispanic or black vote, but they're going to win more of it than they have in the past from what we can tell from early analysis here. And that obviously bodes well for that's another thing that bodes well for the Republicans tonight.
All right, we have a lot of analysis coming.
Yeah, we are just on the cusp of all of this because we're going to have numbers rolling in about 45 minutes from now. We wait for those results. Also, we will take a look at some really interesting governor's races all across the country. Could Lee Zeldin turn New York City, where we are tonight, red, and will Carrie Lake prevail in Arizona?
Karl Rove and Kellyanne Conway join us as we count down to the 7 p.m. poll closings in a number of states, 6 actually, including all-important Georgia. We'll be right back.
Harvey Norman, your connected home destination. Less searching, more watching. Chromecast with
well, it's a commercial break, so
save $50
get on your phones.
Now $98. Secure your home with the SWAT Extreme wire-free 4-camera value pack. Now $898, save $100. Or the Arlo Pro 4 4-camera kit with colored night vision. Save $260 plus $150 cashback. See your connected home specialists now at Harvey Norman. Do you struggle to find the right saw to do your home repairs? Imagine having all these saws in one amazing tool. Well, now you can. Introducing RotoTool 360, the high-speed multifunction circular saw that cuts quickly and easily. With its high-quality frame and powerful 400-watt motor, RotoTool saws up to 4,000 revolutions per minute, cutting through most materials. Wood, laminate flooring, PVC pipes, perspex, plasterboard, ceramic, carpet, aluminium, metal, and more. The secret is its 3 interchangeable cutting blades. The tungsten carbide blade cuts through wood, fiberglass, and plaster. The high-speed steel blade cuts metal and aluminium in seconds. And the diamond blade cuts cleanly through tile, brick, and ceramic. And forget about leaving a trail of dust as you saw. RotoTool 360 comes with a dust extraction system. Connect one end of the adapter to your RotoTool and the other to your vacuum to remove dust as you work. RotoTool fits comfortably in your hand so you can cut in any direction, straight or curved with absolute precision. Amazing! And with a saw depth limiter, you can cut to your desired depth without damaging the surface underneath. RotoTool is also fitted with a guard lock and protective cover for your safety. RotoTool 360 is the easy, clean, and safe way to do your home repairs. Call Global Shop Direct or come online now and get the RotoTool 360 for the low price on your screen. RotoTool is 3 different saws all in one powerful precision circular saw. It comes with 3 interchangeable cutting blades and a dust extraction adapter. But wait, if you order right now, you'll also get a bonus heavy-duty storage case for your RotoTool and accessories. And the RotoTool 360 comes with Global Shop Direct's 30-day money-back guarantee. Don't miss this fantastic offer. Order your RotoTool 360 with a bonus storage case today.
Great idea!
Global Shop Direct.
You can see one of them over here, similarly, going into a graphical processing unit on the rear of the tractor, and they're making sense of the complete environment around the tractor, 360-degree coverage around the tractor.
44,000 pounds
44,000 pounds.
of green beast.
Exactly.
I'm Farmer John in, let's just say, Zanesville, Ohio. I'm sitting on my couch with what? A smartphone? to
You are,
control
yeah.
this?
Smartphone, swipe left or right, start the autonomous tractor.
Right now, this one can only till the soil,
Correct.
correct? But at what point do you think we'll have these being able to harvest and plant?
I think that future's very near, actually. I think the next steps are planting, potentially harvest, running a grain cart with this tractor. Those are the next steps in front of autonomy for tractors.
Jamie, tell me what kind of obstacles it can move around, because I'm thinking you've got the farmer back at the farmhouse,
Sure.
and suddenly this beast comes up against, I don't know, an animal, a rock.
Yeah, very common objects in the fields, things like tile inlets in a field. No problem. The machine can maneuver around those things and continue to do the job autonomously.
And can it operate in storms and bad weather?
You can. We make sense of the weather, and understand from the images from the camera what kind of weather we're operating in. If it's inclement weather, we may shut the machine down if we can't see what's around the machine, for sure. But we operate through inclement weather if we can.
Talk about the cab.
Sure.
I see there is still a steering wheel and a chair.
So the farm, the tractor is actually the Swiss Army knife of the farm, right? It does a lot of things on the farm. So we left the cab on this machine so that if the farmer is not using it to do autonomous tillage, they can use it to do the other tasks on the farm.
I'm thinking that this must be amazing for productivity. Can it run 24/7?
It absolutely can. 24/7, daylight and dark.
And talk to me about what you're hearing from the test farmers, because
Sure.
you did do a beta run.
We have, yeah. So we've been cooperating with farmers for the better part of 4 years on this, and they love the idea. They love the ability to be able to exit the cab for the first time and have the tractor do the work. It allows them better quality of life. They can spend time with their family, and allows them to focus on other activities on their farm.
Here we go. We're back.
Welcome back. While there's a lot of focus on the Senate and the House, 36 states tonight are holding races for governor this year. We're closely watching contests in Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, New Mexico as well as New York and Arizona.
So let's check in with Alexis McAdams and the surprisingly tight New York governor's race in just a moment. But first, let's go over to Alicia Cunha, who is in Scottsdale, Arizona, following Carrie Lake's campaign. Hi, Alicia.
Hi, Martha. Hi, Brett. Yeah, the race between Republican Carrie Lake and Democrat Katie Hobbs can arguably be one of the most watched in the country. Lake and her opponent not only dramatically differ in policy, but tenor and tone. Hobbs, the sitting Secretary of State, established herself in the spotlight during the 2020 election by not only certifying President Joe Biden's win in 2020, but becoming a staunch defender of Arizona's election integrity. She is promising to cut sales taxes and has centralized her message on defending democracy. At one rally warning, quote, "This could be the last election of our lifetime." Lake, a former local TV news anchor who is
Bloody
endorsed by
idiot
former
Democrats.
President Trump, and not only attacking her opponent, but then Lake has garnered
Welcome to the death of democracy.
of Biden's win and promising to declare an invasion at the Arizona-Mexico border on day one. Both have heavily courted Maricopa County voters. No,
I said I'm very grateful that I'm pointing out that Democrats are idiots.
As the second largest
I really do think that,
Maricopa makes up
what was it? There was a historian a few days ago. He was on MSNBC. Yeah, that bastion of, non-partisan journalism, of completely unbiased journalism. I know what he said. It just made. He said if Republicans win, the kids will be killed in the street. What the fuck, man?
Elections officials
You know,
Here, every
oh
ballot will be
God, it's just a
counted.
complete and utter lunacy. The Democrats are just lunatics.
Republican Lee Zeldin has made the
And you know what? If I was an American and was voting, yeah, I'd absolutely be voting Republican. I said I've got the red shirt on. So.
Alexis.
Hi, Brett. Yeah, all eyes around this.
But yeah, I tell you what, if
as you mentioned, it's pretty surprising just how close it is.
I'm always going to say this one, but yeah, like I said,
that say that Governor Hochul's campaign did not think it would
if
be
Lee Zeldin wins New York,
in the game. Republican Congressman Lee Zeldin says
it'll be a red tsunami.
If you ask him, he says that he gets more than 30% of the vote in New York City, he'll be the next governor of New York, which would be historic for him. So as we know, that gap has really been shrinking in this race. And in recent weeks, as the gap closes, voters say they're energized here by this race because they don't want to see where this is going. They don't like the movement this is heading in here in New York. Zeldin would be the first Republican elected
since George
Pataki office. Incumbent Democrat Kathy Hochul took over for disgraced Governor Andrew Cuomo last year and is looking to make history as the first woman elected to be governor of New York. Crime, the hot topic in this race, not surprising. Zeldin has focused his campaign around that issue, Brett, slamming Kathy Hochul for having what he says are soft on crime policies, trying to convince as many independent voters as possible that he is their guy. Governor Hochul shifted her focus to crime in recent weeks here, launching a new subway safety initiative, which has been important here. Back on your live, we can tell you that we've been talking to voters all day who are looking forward to seeing who's elected tonight, and it could be close. Brett?
Alexis, thank you.
All right, let's bring in a few more members of our panel. Carl Rove is with us, former Deputy White House Chief of Staff to President George W. Bush, and Kellyanne Conway, pollster and former senior counselor to President Trump.
Also with us, Fox News contributor Juan Williams, Trey Gowdy, former congressman from South Carolina and host of Sunday Night in America, and Josh Kraushaar, senior political correspondent for Axios. All right, Carl, what are you looking at right now? You see some of these results from our Fox News voter analysis, and you have all the knowledge you have.
Yeah, this is going to be.
That's not much, right? What's interesting to me is this is like a campaign with two different agendas being talked about. Normally we fight over big things, the war in Vietnam, the war in Iraq. But this is two different issues, sets of issues. The Republicans are talking about the economy and inflation. They're talking about crime. They're talking about the border. And the Democrats are talking about abortion, threats to democracy, and climate. And these things don't intersect. And so each party is out there talking to a different segment of the electorate. Problem for the Democrats, twofold. One is the Republican issues are more important than voters. We saw that with the issue of 51% think the economy and inflation is the number one issue. So their issue set is not as important. Second of all, problematic for them, independents in this election are looking more like Republicans. That is to say, their concerns are more like the Republican concerns than the Democratic concerns. And finally, the interesting thing to me is one of the issues that Democrats have put a lot of emphasis on is threats to democracy. And yet there's a new ABC Washington Post poll that showed that their lead on this issue is 47-43. That is to say, they are thought by 47% of people to be better able to handle that issue than the Republicans, who got 43. And why? Because each side has its own description of what those threats to democracy are. So you have conservatives and Republicans saying, a government that doesn't, gives away $500 billion without passing a law through Congress, or one party rule, or the politicization of the DOJ or the FBI. All of these kinds of things are seen by people on the right as threats to democracy, as well as the January 6th attack on the Capitol is seen by people on the left and right as a threat to democracy.
Kellyanne's a great point. I mean, that's the world that we live in, where each side has the issues that they're most fired up about, and it kind of seems like they're living in two separate countries almost at times. You've looked at the Fox News voter analysis as we get a gauge of what's on people's minds. What do you think so far?
So, Martha, this country no doubt is divided. Our Senate is divided. Washington is divided. Some of our households are divided. But the country is not divided on some of the biggest issues that are motivating them to the polls in these midterms. Over 70% of Americans tell the Fox News pollsters and other pollsters that they are very or extremely concerned about crime, about inflation, about immigration and border security. And yet the Democrats have taken a huge gamble on creating this parallel universe and talking about something totally different. We'll see if their gamble pays off. The other thing that is not in doubt is that you're dealing with a very unpopular president whose disapproval rating has been over 50% for a year. Independents are leaning far more toward Republicans. Will they show up? I think for independents, the big question in midterms is not just for whom to vote, or whether to bother at all. Some of those partisans, particularly Democrats, voted early. I think the Democrats were able to bank their votes early. The other thing is the Republicans, I think this time, have gambled on expanding the electorate. And now the Republican Party's electorate, the voters, look a lot more like America, and so do their candidates. And we'll see if that gamble actually pays off. I believe it will. The Republicans have invested in what I call the non-sexy stuff in politics, not just the big TV ads or the rallies or the candidate. They have talked to voters, 100 million contacts, 1 million volunteers. The data and digital from 10 years ago when Romney lost and they did an autopsy is much better. One other thing I'm looking at tonight, if it's real that these suburban women, 20% of the electorate, are trending Republican, I think many of them are not voting their gender, they're voting their kids. And they're still out there as parents a year after Glenn Youngkin took Virginia and Jack Ciattarelli in New Jersey almost did. They are still parents. They're still upset about laws when we reduce test scores. Little bit of abortion, a lot of inflation and crime, but so much education is a sleeper issue in this election.
Yeah, we'll see how that breaks down.
So we're counting down to the first poll closings in 6 battleground states, or 6 states total, I should say. Next, she's not on the ballot, but President Biden has loomed large over this election. So does he help or hurt vulnerable Democrats?
And the economy is a top issue, driving voters to the polls. Larry Kudlow on how record high inflation will impact who wins tonight.
Right, we're on the commercial. All right.
Say goodbye to those holiday season stains. Deep clean your carpets, furniture, and cars the easy way with the Bissell Revolution. It out-cleans bulky rentals like Britex and Rug Doctor for a professional-looking clean whenever you want. It's lightweight and agile, and the special Express Clean mode leaves carpets dry in about 30 minutes. Its features, tools, and formulas are designed to clean up the toughest of messes. To see it in action, visit these leading retailers.
I'm Lori Grenier. You may know me from Shark Tank. I wanted to share with you a better way to start your day.
Does the thought of making your bed in the morning just make you want to go back to bed? Messy sheets, untucked sheets, and lifting a heavy mattress to tuck the sheets under can be back-breaking, nail-breaking, and sometimes impossible. Guest beds, day beds, kids beds. There's got to be a better way. Introducing Better Better, the fast and easy way to make any bed in just seconds.
Hi, I'm Tyler, and my mom invented the Better Better because I'm lazy. What is it Better Better? Well, it's a giant headband that wraps around the sides of your mattress.
With Better Better, you can make your bed in seconds. No more lifting heavy mattresses because your sheets just tuck in. It's so easy, anyone can and will do it. Do your fitted sheets pop off? Do you have trouble finding sheets that fit your bed? With Better Better, loose, baggy sheets instantly conform to your bed, and fitted sheets stay in place all night. Simply put on Better Better, about 5 centimeters below the top of your mattress. Pull it on once, and it's part of your mattress for the life of your mattress. Then easily tuck your sheet into Better Better, add your quilt, and you're done. There's no lifting your mattress. It's that easy. Plus, you can use Better Better to hold your remote control, phone, even your glasses, so they stay within reach. And best of all, Better Better works with most sheets on most types of beds. Now making your bed is a snap.
Make your mornings better with Better Better.
Call Global Shop Direct or go online now and get Better Better starting from the low price on your screen. Better Better comes in single, double, queen or king size and wraps tightly around your mattress to hold your sheets in place. And it comes with Global Shop Direct's 30-day money-back guarantee. Making your bed will be faster and easier with Better Better. So order yours in the size you need today.
Great idea!
Global Shop Direct!
My memory does not go back all the way to my first and second year of life.
We won't blame you for that.
But I could pick out my dad on TV. He would be doing something, he'd be saying something. I knew it was him, which is also interesting.
Well, you just looked in the mirror and you're like, wow, that looks like me on TV because you guys look so similar.
Not that. When I was a baby, I actually had black hair.
What?
Born with black hair.
What?
Never guessed.
You don't dye it now?
No.
This is
all natural.
All natural.
And now people think me and him are brothers.
Yeah. See, I can see that.
I would say that these days it is 50% people say, love you and your dad, and 50% say, love you and your brother on the morning show.
something that your dad told you on the first day of work? Good advice.
There was, and I think that people, whenever I tell anybody this, because a lot of the time when people are starting it, thoughts, they ask, okay, what do I need to know? And I share with them this advice that I think they think is a joke, but it's not. On my first day, my dad and I were in the old newsroom. He was showing me around, and I had my blazer off and just a long sleeve red shirt, and he said, roll up your sleeves.
Why?
And I asked him, I said, Dad, why? If the AC's blasting in here, why do I need my sleeves rolled up? He said, if you have your sleeves rolled up, people will just assume that you are busy doing something, even if you're not.
No way.
That has been the most invaluable trick over my 11 years, 10 plus
You
years.
can't roll these though because you have a blazer on.
I do, but all the time in the bureau, it's one of those things where people, when they see somebody maybe just holding like a newspaper and their sleeves rolled up, even if I don't have anything going on, I think people, hopefully my boss is like, he is up to something. He is elbow deep in a scoop.
He's reading the newspaper. I'd just like to point out that my sleeves are rolled, so I'm incredibly busy.
Again,
I'm taking the time to
I
drive
would
you to work.
never bug you because it's like, wow, she must be working, and you are working.
Less than 30 minutes until all polls close in 6 states, including Georgia. The Peach State has a marquee race in the Senate as well as the State House, and then 30 minutes later, polls close in Ohio and North Carolina. But first, President Biden ramping up campaign appearances after keeping a relatively low profile for most of the midterm cycle. His legacy, his agenda could be on the line tonight. Jackie Heinrich is live on the North Lawn of the White House. Good evening, Jackie.
Good evening to you, Brett. President Biden urged people to vote in a radio interview a short while ago, saying that Republicans on the ballot are, quote, a different breed of cat, pointing to 300 who he called election deniers and warning that they may not accept today's results. Despite a hopeful closing midterm message,
And I want you to know, we'll meet this moment.
the president admits there's a real risk Democrats will lose control of the House.
I think it's going to be tough. I think we can. I think we'll win this moment. I think the House is tough.
Biden's strategy to pull Democrats over the finish line paint an alarming picture of a GOP-controlled Congress.
Democracy's on the ballot. Political violence and intimidation are on the rise all across America. And you remember January 6th, the angry mob that stormed the U.S. Capitol, attacked law enforcement, hunted down elected officials, erected gallows to hang Vice President Pence.
The White House shifting focus away from what Biden hopes to get done in the second half of his term, with his legislative reach very much in question.
Why not just tell the country what we have done? Why not just lay that out, which we have? We have laid out what's at stake.
The president's former spokesperson admitted in September Biden's unpopularity gave Democrats a narrow path to win.
I think that Democrats, if the election is about who is the most extreme, then they're going to win. If it is a referendum on the president, they will lose, and they know that.
Biden seizing on that and sticking with it till the very end.
We know in our bones that our democracy is at risk, and we know that this is your moment to defend it, preserve or protect it. Choose it.
Vice President Harris today would also not answer how she will advance the Biden agenda if Republicans can control Congress, saying only that she's working to keep that from happening, and today is still Election Day. Right.
Jackie, thank you.
So America's number one issue is the economy. Inflation has skyrocketed under this president's watch, forcing Americans to pay more for gas and groceries. There's a graph of what it looks like on the wall. So here to talk about it now is Larry Kudlow. Larry, good evening. Happy election evening to you. Your thoughts as we get ready for some numbers here to roll in at 7 p.m. tonight.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. Look at inflation is number one for good
Some more water. I'll be.
Too much spending, too much money printing, too much regulating.
Oh, and Biden, he's an idiot. We all know this. All right, back in a second. I've got to get some water.
Contributed to a big rise of inflation, really, by the middle of 2021. And I think the problem right now is that inflation has become embedded into the economy. It's become embedded into wages. the Federal Reserve is having to crack down on raising interest rates and cutting back on the money supply. Recession looms large. Democrat economists tried to warn them against it. That failed. I don't know. Right now, it's a very difficult story. No wonder it's number one. It's absolutely the key issue in this campaign, has been from day one.
Larry, the Democrats didn't really turn to the economic message till the end of this campaign. But what kind of message is that? I mean, they're saying that the economy is strong inherently. Is that viable?
No, I don't think it is. I mean, look, statistically, Brett, the first 2 quarters were negative of this year. The third quarter was slightly positive. The fourth quarter may be slightly positive, but it's still a very weak economy. You're in a terrible housing slump, for example. And probably look at the soft underbelly.
So we go with 23 minutes until
frankly, is the
we actually start to see some tangible results now. So I'm sort of looking forward to this one. I think
18 consecutive months.
I was saying New York, I think it's going to be interesting.
For less than what they
and I will call it.
And so it
If
shows up in grocery prices,
Lee Zeldin gets New York, it'll be a red tsunami. I think that's a given. If a Republican can win in the bluest of blue states in New York, then you've got a red tsunami, and not going to end the poll because we all know it'll be a red tsunami if Zeldin gets New York.
One of the key factors here is the war against fossil fuels. All right, this need not have happened. We could have had an all.
I said, I hope you're having fun out there watching this one. I know I'm obviously very interested in watching what's going on. So here we are in the 2 years of until the election, until the presidential election. So good bit of interesting news going on there. Apparently next week, Donald Trump will have a massive announcement. I think it will. I do think that he will announce that he's going to run for president again, and I think that's a great thing.
Prices have all gone up because of the problem with fossil fuels. We're not producing enough, and too much federal spending, and too much regulation.
Yeah, why not? Inflation, recession. Apparently, the price of gasoline has gone up 62% since Biden took office. So that's good.
You're going to probably have a recessionary economy and continued high inflation. So this is a difficult one.
Yeah, we've heard a lot about layoffs, and that's kind of the part of the pain that you expect to come with all of these rate hikes that we've had over the last several months. Larry, thank you. We'll talk to you later. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Larry. Coming up, we will hear from you, the voters. Harris Faulkner asked a live audience about the issues that are most important to them and what they think is at stake in this election. As we count down to the first poll closings of the night, it's election night 2022. Keep it here.
Commercial break. I can switch off for a bit. I'm going to read a book. It's still there.
True needle foliage makes this tree look stunningly realistic. Have a happier Christmas with free delivery at balsamhill.com.au.
Who are the happiest nappers of all? Happy nappers. They're the perfect play pillows that pull open to a sleepy sack surprise.
They are happy nappers. They love to sleep and play with you.
Every happy napper goes from the perfect play pillow to a super soft sleepy sack with a simple pull and zip, and then your child can snuggle up and nap inside of it. There you'll go anywhere, friends that play with you all day. Then when it's time to sleep, just pull on their feet. And when the napping is done, they easily fold to hug, carry and hold.
Hug them, squeeze them, snuggle inside them. They will always know you love them.
Karina plays with her Happy Napper zebra every day and then cuddles up and falls asleep in it every night. Jackson loves his Happy Napper tiger. They go on adventures together all day and he sleeps in his jungle all night.
My Happy Napper owl opens and closes his head. And most of our favorite to do with it is snuggle up in it and watch a movie and go to sleep. I love it so much.
Parents and grandparents know that happy nappers make sleepovers more fun and every visit a special one.
Sleepy time, playtime, anytime is Happy Napper time. Call Global Shop Direct or go online now and get your very own Happy Napper for the low price on your screen. And now there's even more lovable Happy Nappers to choose from. Meet Shimmer Unicorn, Orca, Crocodile, and Zebra. Plus our best sellers, Pink Unicorn, Shark, Tiger, and Owl. And Happy Nappers come with Global Shop Direct's 30-day money-back guarantee. Happy Nappers are a great gift for any child and come in small or large. The large is best for kids 5 years and over and is exclusive to Global Shop Direct. Order yours today.
Great idea!
Global Shop Direct. This Black Friday, get 50% off Choice's top-scoring Emma Comfort mattress and discover how restful nights can make colourful days thanks to our 100-night trial. Awaken your best at emma-sleep.com.au today.
In her memoir, Jet Girl has 1,000 paper cuts, a series of microaggressions targeting her and her fellow female aviators.
I'm glad that people are talking about it because that's the only way that we can make it better. And it breaks my heart that not only did I experience incredible challenges, but my friends experienced more.
We reached out to the U.S. Navy for comment. The U.S. Navy is committed to fostering an environment in which all members are treated equally, valued, and respected, regardless of gender, race, religion, age, national origin, or sexual orientation. Our diverse team, uniform and civilian, active and reserve, will not tolerate discrimination of any kind. We are one team and one Navy every day. After leaving active duty, Johnson went on to teach leadership at the United States Naval Academy, helping to recruit new aviators while being honest about her own experiences, which she hopes will empower women to stand up for themselves and find the career path that's right for them.
If you're curious, reach out to the people who have your dream job. Reach out to the astronauts, reach out, to the jet girls, because you will be shocked. They want to help you and they want to bring you along for the ride.
And as Johnson continues to inspire and encourage both men and women to reach their goals, she notes that there are millions of women in the world who she hopes will not only have the opportunity to make their own lives better, but also to better the rest of the world. In New York, Laura Ingle, Fox News.
In business, you need to stay a step ahead.
Your top stories right now.
Won't go up. Okay. So download the free Fox Business app. Just scan the code on your screen. Got an access moving at comfortably. Put the markets at your fingertips. Get the latest from Wall Street to Washington, all with the insight investors need.
Good news for record highs of 2022.
The Fox Business app makes it easy to be in the know wherever you go. Get right down to it. Download the Fox Business app from your app store or scan the QR code on screen now.
Well, of course, today is the day when voters make their voices
Yeah, we're back.
polling sites all across the country. Before polls opened today, more than
Right,
40
15 minutes
million
until we start to get some.
Americans, that's a record, have voted early. And Harris Faulkner is here with some of the voter voices live and in person. Hi, Harris.
Oh, we're so excited, Martha and Brett. Thank you very much. The midterm elections obviously are upon us. And we have heard so much from the candidates and the pundits in the weeks and months leading up to this big night. Now it's time to hear the voters' voices. Throughout the night, we'll hit the top issues that voters say drove them to the polls. And a little bit about our audience now, our live audience. First time ever we've done this, people from all walks of life, all along the political spectrum, on the right, on the left, everywhere in between. And like all Americans, they have an enormous stake in the outcome of tonight's races. Also with me tonight, pollster Lee Carter is here. She is partner and president of Maslansky and Partners, and she and her fancy team have used their special dial technology to gauge voters' reactions to the top issues of this critical midterm election. I want us to talk directly to the voters, so I'm going to get up and start talking to people. Kristen, you're here. First of all, let's do a quick show of hands. Does this election, to any of you, feel different, like more is at stake? A raise of hands if so? Oh, wow. Is that everybody?
Looks like everybody.
Yeah, that's unanimous. All right, Kristen, I'm coming to you first. Why is that? Why do you feel like this means so much?
Well, from my perspective, I would say that there have been things happening lately that are enormous issues, like the Roe v. Wade being overturned. And I feel like
women's reproductive rights is so important to me. And I feel that this is the midterm that matters to make our voices known, to say that, that's not okay. We need women's reproductive rights.
All right, and I'm guessing you voted Democrat today?
I did a little bit of both.
You did a little bit of both, and we'll get into that later. A lot of people did some ticket splitting because they were split on different issues. David, I'm going to ask you the same question. Why is this election different for you?
Well, this election is very different because whoever wins, there's no in between. Whoever wins gets to make the decisions moving forward.
Yeah, you're gonna.
All right,
Yeah, roll the eyes. There you go.
Okay, we'll move. Watch the lines on your screen now. Red represents Republicans' reaction, blue is for Democrats, and gray is for independents. First up tonight, the most powerful Republican in the House, Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, on this big election.
Which direction does America want to go? That's why we have the commitment to America. We literally spell out what we'll do to make us energy independent, give us an economy that's strong, secure the border, fund the police, stop the prosecutors who are woke, give you a parent's bill of rights. I think the entire nation should look at what the Democrats have done with one-party rule, look at what the commitment says, and make a decision.
All right, so the lines that you saw correlate with how people responded.
Wow.
So you can see Democrats, that blue line, they gave it a D, Republicans an A, and independents a B+. Very different reactions across the board there.
So I know you dug deep and asked people why they did what they did. By the way, along party lines is probably pretty predictable.
Yeah,
because
yeah,
we're
I think
such a
yeah.
divided nation, but why the grades that we saw?
Now, the independents, they're right in the middle. Well, usually are right in the middle. They were going right along with Kevin McCarthy's message there. They really responded favorably. And I think that's one of the things to watch is how those independent voters are going to react.
Real quickly about that, because you and I have done this on the Faulkner Focus too during the day, during the week. And you said independents were looking for something more from Republicans. They didn't just want complaining, they want an answer.
That's right. So for a long time, I think Republicans were out there talking about how bad things were. Most Americans are telling us, we know how bad things are, we want to hear a solution. So this was his effort at trying to put that together with a commitment to America.
All right, real quickly, we know Democrats called in their political star, former President Barack Obama. Again, watch the lines.
All right, here we go. Let's see what Obama's done.
True democracy goes away, people get hurt. It has real consequences. Democracy's at stake in this election. That's why it's not enough
Well,
to have like Democrats
and the independents have gone down as well.
like good people up and down the ballot. Across the country, some of the folks who tried to undermine our democracy are running for offices that will oversee the next election. And if they win, there's no telling what might happen.
What grades did voters give it?
So you can see there, Democrats, that blue line, they gave it an A, while Republicans gave an F. Not surprising, that big division. Those independents, though, that gray line, they gave it a C-.
All right, we're going to go back
So
to
I heard with the
They've got
independents.
some races called more voters' voices coming up a bit later.
Interesting stuff. Harris, thank you. Meanwhile, another factor in tonight's results, Mother Nature, the weather potentially affecting some turnout in key states. Fox weather meteorologist Amy Freeze has more. Good evening, Amy.
Good evening. Right, really across the country, east of the Mississippi, things have been pretty mild. Even at this hour, Dallas has 78 degrees, but out west where the polls are still open, it has been a real storm that's come through. Did not reach into Arizona. In fact, Maricopa County, no problems there today, but just a little bit further to the west. And look at the mess that's over Nevada.
Wow, look at all that rain.
This is
I
Washington.
don't get it, but if you're watching Fox News with me, yeah,
Freezing all day. The Sierra getting up to 4 feet of snow, and that's not it. They also had stormy weather in Northern California, maybe a tornado touching down outside of Sacramento on Highway 99. And we have flooding rains at this hour right now over Los Angeles. In fact, flood watch is up for much of Southern California. Look at those strong storms coming over the 5 and the Grapevine. And then, of course, on the East Coast, after the polls have closed, but it'll be interesting to see what happens because we have tropical
bit of a
storm
hurricane
Nicole.
looking developing over Florida.
Evacuation orders today.
I hope
all
my Floridians that are watching, hopefully you guys are okay.
People will make that effort tonight, even with the storms out west. Back to you.
Amy, thank you very much.
Thank you, Amy. Let's get back to the rest of
All right,
our
9
panel
minutes until we get
get them
some,
into the mix here.
you know, tangible results. So that'd be pretty cool.
Juan, your thoughts as we are just a few minutes away
Yep,
from
good to
getting some
see.
results?
Well, I think post-COVID, Martha, I think there's been a real change in American politics, which is that we can see today
It's not just
that Democrats vote early and oftentimes vote by mail. Republicans vote on election day. It's almost like you have two elections going on. And we're going to see that play out in terms of how we report the results. And we have to be very cautious about that because some speculation, mirages may appear here and there. The other thing to say very quickly is that for all the talk about election fraud and the big lie and the big steal and all that, today it's gone fairly smoothly. We've had some trouble in Maricopa County in Arizona, as you've heard, some machines not functioning properly.
I'm going to say that it wasn't the voting machines, it was the tabulation machines. So,
told to stay open later because of some problems with the ballot.
so it wasn't the voting machine, it was the ones that count up the votes. I know it's a small difference, but I just feel like they need to point that one out.
Secretaries of State's money who denied the results of the 2020 election. This has been a fairly smooth election.
Maricopa says they've fixed those machine problems in those precincts and they're moving on. Trey, your thoughts early?
Yeah, I think Dana put her finger on it. Every tailwind you can have, the economy, inflation, gas prices, history is with the Republicans. So if they underperform tonight, somebody needs to ask how and why. And if there is a way, what does that portend for 2024? That's what I'll be watching.
Josh?
I'm looking at the disconnect between the House and the Senate. We're going to be getting some House numbers in Virginia and Indiana early on. It'll give us an early sense of the public's mood. But, Senate races are about candidates. And Republicans have nominated some untested rookies in the political landscape, like Herschel Walker and Dr. Oz and Blake Masters. So I'm really going to be closely watching. I know folks on the House races put on their red and blue jerseys, but on the Senate races, they look at the candidates, and the candidates matter in those contests.
Yeah, it's a great point. And Bill's going to take us through those Virginia races as we get a look at the three races, 2, 7, and 10, that we think are going to give us some early indications tonight of the mood out there. But it's also really what Juan was saying, that in some places they're going to start counting today. They do the mail-in ballots first, and then they do the today vote. In some places, it's the opposite of that. So we're going to take you through that tonight.
Our voter analysis says that something like 40% of the electorate will vote on election day, which means that that change that Juan was talking about has evolved now. Yeah. And now so that tells you, for example, that in Pennsylvania, a majority of Pennsylvania voters, if that holds for Pennsylvania, and there's no reason why it wouldn't, voted in this election without seeing either of the candidates in debate, without seeing John Fetterman and the difficulties that he had that were so striking to all of us. Is that an argument for more early voting or not? Good question.
That is a good question. Well, it's definitely an argument for more debates.
Absolutely.
No, I said this will be I'm just watching the midterms.
The next poll closings, including the closely watched state of Georgia.
I said,
Jesse Waters.
now the fun part's going to kick in because the polls are going to close pretty soon. Polls are going to close in 5 minutes. I'm very excited to wait and see what's going on. I said this will be a midterm watch along. I'll be watching along for a couple of hours. So.
Say goodbye to those
Commercial break.
Season stains. Deep clean your carpets, furniture,
Readable.
and cars the easy
Yeah,
way.
run the commercials.
Vessel Revolution. It out cleans bulky rentals like Britex and Rug Doctor for a professional looking clean whenever you want. It's lightweight and agile, and the special express clean mode leaves carpets dry in about 30 minutes. Its features, tools, and formulas are designed to clean up the toughest of messes. To see it in action, visit these leading retailers.
Clogged ears, wax on your buds, hard to hear. Maybe it's time you clean out your ear. But don't push, whoosh with the whoosh-powered earwax remover by Black Wolf. Instead of compacting the wax with a cotton bud, whoosh safely and effectively removes wax with a gentle massaging triple spray of water that's directed not down the middle, but at the sides of the ear canal. Whoosh's foldable nozzle connects to a soft antimicrobial irrigation tip that fits comfortably in your ear. With the press of a button, Whoosh generates a massaging triple spray of water that gently removes wax buildup and rinses it away for the ultimate in ear hygiene.
Feels like a massage in my ear.
That feels awesome.
By using the Whoosh product, which delivers the 3 streams of indirect pressure to the ear canal, we're achieving a safe and effective and satisfying way of cleaning the wax that's accumulating in the ear canal.
Just fill, flip, and spray. Whoosh has 3 pressure settings. 1 and 2 for comforting ear maintenance, and 3 for that really compacted wax.
Twice a week in the shower will, in a safe and effective manner, prevent the wax from even forming in the first place.
It's also good to use in the shower.
Thank you, Buffy.
So when earwax attacks, don't push it in. Whoosh it out. Call Global Shock Direct or go online now and get Whoosh by Black Wolf for the low price on your screen. The Whoosh Powered Ear Cleaner is the safe and effective way to gently clean your ears and help prevent wax buildup. Plus, it comes with 6 reusable irrigation tips, so the whole family can use it. And Whoosh comes with Global Shock Direct's 30-day money-back guarantee. Now you can spray the wax away with Whoosh. Order yours from Global Shock Direct today.
Yes, you're a very proud family of many military service, people that have served in the military. And so he was working as a cook at a tavern, and I think you know why it's called a tavern. Tell me about that.
Well, look, my grandfather Carmine built the Rex with his own, hands. He was a bricklayer in Italy. He came to this country, built a restaurant, named it the Rex Manor, and he named it the Rex after the ship, the Rex, which was a famous ship which would transport Italians from Italy to America. And he started working at the restaurant that he built as a chef, and it was first a huge bar. We had a big bar area at the Rex, and that's where it was first called the tavern.
Yeah, and he was a bricklayer before that, right? And I think you said something about there was a pizza oven that was a brick pizza oven.
He built the pizza oven again with his own bare hands. My grandfather Carmine built the pizza oven, and I have to say, we did have the best pizza in Brooklyn. It was a brick oven. Then when we sold the restaurant, they knocked down the pizza oven. How dumb! It was the best pizza in Brooklyn. But that's what they did.
Yeah, and I believe Carmine.
This picture is the largest catering room of the Rex. We would have weddings, bar mitzvah, and of course I was the coat checker.
You were coat checker. Was that one of your first jobs?
That was my first job at the Rex.
Okay.
I have my sign in my home office right now, and it says 50 cents, please pay in advance. I love this sign. I framed it. It's actually my sign from my coat checker.
I love that. I believe it. And the restaurant was really hopping in the 1950s.
It was hot.
So here you have the 1950 census. Carmine, you've got the family there. Vincent's listed, so your dad's in the census. And it's a great place to be able to see your parents or your grandparents in the 1950 census.
Well, you know what? The thing is when you own a restaurant, the whole family works there. And if you don't work at the restaurant, you probably are not going to see the family because my dad was working all the time.
Yeah.
So we all had jobs there.
The results.
We're seeing some key developments here in the final
All
stretch.
right, here we go. All right, the polls are in. Here we go.
Tracking all of those around the clock.
10 states with the power to decide everything.
I want Ohio to be the economic powerhouse of not just the United States, but of the world.
It is time to have a senator who will serve the people. Increases.
When you is costing, we all costing. I need you to show up for me so that I can show up for you.
Big stakes.
We need a governor who cares about the state of Georgia.
All right, this will be fun. Here we go.
It's all on the line.
Expect an exciting night that could go either way.
And America's decision starts now.
Here we go. This is it. Results are in. We can start. This will be fun. Here we go.
It is 7 p.m. in the East. Polls have now closed in 6 states. We begin with the battleground state of Georgia, where Fox News Decision Desk says Democratic Senator Raphael Warnock and Republican Herschel Walker are in a very tight race at this hour.
Well, at the moment, because 0% is in.
Georgia historically slow counting these votes as they come in, so we're going to watch this one throughout the night. Also, if either candidate does not get 50% of the vote, there will be that expected runoff in about 4 weeks from now in December.
December 6th in South Carolina, we can project that Republican Senator Tim Scott will win a second full term, defeating Democrat Crystal Matthews.
Let's go
That
to
was quick.
Kentucky, where we are projecting that Republican Senator Rand Paul will cruise to a third term, defeating Democrat Charles Booker.
We can also project Indiana Republican Senator Todd Young will win his second term.
At the moment, Republicans are taking it.
And in Vermont, Democrat Peter Welch will replace retiring Senator Patrick Leahy as the next senator for the Green
Right,
Mountain
and the Democrats get Vermont. That was given.
All right, so this is a look at the balance of power right now, and you've got 32 Republicans, 37 Democrats. It is early in the night. A majority is 51, as we know, and as it stands right now, you've got a 50-50 Senate. But as we get some of these early votes in, this is a look at where we stand.
Now we're going to the races for governor. Starting with Georgia, Governor Brian Kemp, the incumbent, has a slight lead against Stacey Abrams. Again, it's early. This race is too early to call. It's not yet clear whether Kemp can reach more than 50% to avoid that runoff we just talked to about. Back to Georgia when we have updates, more raw vote total.
And in South Carolina, the Fox News Decision Desk projects that Republican Governor Henry McMaster will win a second term in office. No big surprise there, defeating Joe Cunningham.
And finally, in Vermont, we haven't seen enough data yet to definitively declare Republican Governor Phil Scott will win more than 50% of the vote there. Again, he's got to get over 50% there. Now, we are going to, throughout the night, now have a ticker on the bottom of the screen, and you'll see it right down here as we put it up, and we'll see races rolling through with the numbers that we have, the raw vote total in all of these races.
That's it. This should
one
be
of the things that we'll have
interesting to see.
Rolling throughout, and if a check mark, what you just see there with Todd Young, that means they've won that race. We declared the race, even though there are not a ton of raw vote total in. We have both the raw vote and the Fox News voter analysis, and they make an extrapolation about how that race is going.
And that'll be rolling across the bottom of your screen, and it's going to continue to populate in a larger way as we get moving through this evening. So let's get back to our panel for some quick thoughts. And look who's joined us. Katie Pavlich is with us now. Hi, Katie. Happy election evening to you. Your thoughts as we get rolling with some bit of results. The first tranche here.
Well, in Virginia, we'll be seeing results soon. There's a couple of interesting races there. Virginia 10 is one of them with Jennifer Wexton defending her seat. That is a close one. Virginia 7 with Yesli Vega taking on Abigail Spanberger. Remember that she was the one who was on that phone call with Democrats a year ago saying, you have to stop with the defund the police. She was in the election when, or in the state when Glenn Youngkin won the election, and he took in a lot of independent votes based on school choice for parents. So those are two to watch in Virginia. Generally, it's been interesting to watch the places where Democrats have had to defend territory where they wouldn't regularly do so, even in places where Republicans might not win. Washington State with Tiffany Smiley, for example, against Senator Patty Murray. In Oregon, the governorship is up there.
Right, the only vote is in Georgia, and it's 1%, and Stacey Abrams has 75%. But again, that's only 1% of the vote. And yeah, they were saying early votes would often go, Democrats would vote early vote by mail. So I'm sort of on that one. Probably the same thing in Florida with
regardless of your political party. Inflation, the economy. It's much like Joe Biden has governed, and they sounded the alarm about a week ago saying they needed to finally get focused back on the economy, but they haven't been focused on the issues that voters care about, and that's why they've had to defend territory from the West Coast to the East Coast, and we'll see how tight those margins are as the results come in tonight.
Yeah, Carl, you have people talking in your ear from all over the country. You're looking at these numbers, anything?
Well, look, it's very early, so everybody at this point, particularly if your polls have not closed, are just talking. But there is one interesting state where you can track the vote during the day, and that's Nevada. And John Ralston, a longtime observer of Nevada politics, who this morning was forecasting the D's holding on, is now beginning to raise alarm bells because in the two big counties, Clark County and Las Vegas, where about more than two-thirds of the voters are, Democrats are not turning out to the degree that they did in 2018. And in Washoe County, Reno, which the Democrats need to win to offset all of the 15 rural counties, which are heavily Republican, the Republicans are turning out, and he's beginning to forecast that the Democrats are in trouble in that second biggest county in the state.
And not just that, the governor's race, too.
Right. Look at that governor's race. It just hasn't gotten as much attention as the Adam Laxalt, Catherine Cortez Master race. And
Stacey Abrams, 73.1% of the vote in Georgia, with only 1% in.
Governor Sisolak is under a lot of fire for his handling of COVID. And a lot of the industry and sectors and small businesses, particularly school children,
it's going to be a very interesting night.
Because of
I think a very long and interesting night.
In Joe Lombardo, he was the Clark County Sheriff from 2014. He's a veteran, and he's run a pretty good campaign. I think that's a governor's race to watch tonight too in Nevada.
Yeah, Britt, these states that are closing now, Virginia is the one you're watching?
Yeah, well, Virginia's got those house races where we get an early indication, not just as Carl has pointed out, horse race, but margins. And if we see higher or lower margins than we did in previous cycles in these places, well, that'll give us a sense of what's going to happen across the country.
Well, especially after that Youngkin win.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, in the first two of them.
I mean, it's only 1% in, so you know it's not. I'm not taking too much into it. When it gets to about 50%.
7. And I think he lost in 10. You were talking about this earlier today with Bill and Dana, right? Yes. And some of those districts have changed just a little bit because of redistricting. Not a lot of time, but enough like to maybe give someone a chance. The race I'm really looking forward to seeing at 7 p.m. that closes is in Indiana. And there is an incumbent, Frank Mervan, who is against a Republican challenger named Jennifer Ruth Green. And I find her energetic, exciting. She had a terrible thing happen to her when Politico released a report about an assault that happened to her when she was in the Air Force. She did not want that release, and she handled that with such dignity and grace, and she's got a ton of energy. All she wants to talk about is gas, groceries, and grandkids. That's all she talks about. So that one closes at 7 p.m. too.
Hey, Trey, your buddy Tim Scott won a pretty easy re-election.
I don't know what took so long to call that race. I can tell you this. Tim Scott for 2 minutes was as nervous as Lindsey Graham in his spelling bee. Because I promise you for those 2 minutes, he was not sure. How can, I need Carl or Kellyanne, how can you split your ticket Kemp-Warnock? So if Kemp is doing well, how is Warnock maybe outperforming Abrams? That's what I'll be watching tonight.
And one more question on Senator Scott. Does he have bigger ambitions after this election?
I think he wants to buy the Dallas Cowboys.
Encouraging him to bigger things for a long time, Trey. Whether or not he's listening to you, we don't know.
Oh, that was a good one. Got a big giggle out of that.
He's grateful for the chance to serve for 6 more years. I know that.
All right. Let's head over to Bill Hemmer at the Billboard, digesting some of these races.
So we're going to introduce you to some new features this year. For the next several hours, we're going to take our viewers and folks here in the studio here through what we believe will be the best way to track this race, okay? So 2 new features here. I'm going to start in Virginia with these key House races, okay? We call them key because at the beginning of the night, about an hour ago, we talked about the 26 toss-ups. These are 3 of the toss-ups in the state of Virginia. So they can either be toss-up states or they can be Democratic or Republicans in leadership on the House side. So you'll see that pop up through the night. The other thing is we expect some tight races, right? We expect some races that may win tomorrow or the day after, or even Friday by the end of this week. We'll see about that. So we've been trying to find out for you at home, where is the vote outstanding? All right, so it's either purple haze or it's purple rain. Okay, but you're going to see
hopefully, who knows?
Change throughout the night, and the darker the purple, the more vote there is outstanding. Okay, on the bar up here, you'll see a little gray area. That will denote that all the votes for that county have been counted and tabulated and reported. But the darker the purple here, that's what we're waiting on, okay? And as you can see in Virginia, purple haze, purple rain, you go ahead and make the call. So in this state itself, what Republicans have tried to characterize these 3 races, if they win Virginia 2.
Yeah, no, I sort of get where you're coming from, but every vote counts. I mean, like I said, in 2 years' time, go out and vote. You know what I mean? It is incredibly crucial that you do vote. I mean, even if you know, one vote can change everything. You know what I mean? So please go out and vote. You know,
and women and many with military records. And Jen Kiggins checks all those boxes now. A very good candidate going up against Elaine Luria. No results in just yet, though, in Virginia 2. In Virginia 7, Abigail Spanberger is a Democrat going for round 3 now for her term, being challenged by Yesli Vega, and for the first time tonight, less than 1% now, okay, estimated in, but we're starting to see some numbers come in. This is a race that has to be characterized based on how the census has changed the lives throughout the entire country. This is really interesting to watch throughout the night. Sometimes there's subtle changes, but they make a big difference. Spanberger first ran in 2018 on the west side of Richmond. She had close races in 2018, had a close race in 2020. but Republicans in Virginia changed the lines and moved her district north here, closer to Washington, D.C. Now, she's still in a Democratic district. However, Republicans think the weather is right in Virginia to make a change. I'm going to come back to that in a moment here. Up here in Virginia 10, another very interesting race here. This is Hung Cao. He's a Republican from U.S. Navy. He was born in Saigon. His family fled in April of 1975, the end of that war. He wants to take down Jennifer Wexton, another woman who won in Virginia in 2018. So you've got three races now in Virginia where all three women won their first races for the House in 2018. All three are seeking different terms, but the lines are slightly different in each one. So we're going to track that throughout the night here. Now, I want to do something up here. In Indiana, you've got two time zones, right? Close at 6 o'clock, close at 7 o'clock. Indiana is now fully closed as of 11 minutes ago. And this is a race in the upper northwestern part of the state. Indiana 1, congressional district. This is Gary, Indiana. Tends to be more like Chicago than it does Indianapolis. But Frank Mervan is a first-term Democrat being challenged there by Jennifer Ruth Green. Republicans love this candidate. They put her on TV every time they could. She, too, has a military background. They believe, based on the minority makeup, places like Lake County, which you can see here behind me, African Americans, minority voters, that they believe that she has a shot in this district. Now, I want to tell you that no Republican has won in Congressional District 1 in Indiana in close to 100 years.
Oh, shit.
So again, we go back to that story in Virginia, right? If you got a wave, how high is it? If Republicans pick up a victory up here in Congressional District 1 in Indiana, you start to guess like what's happening throughout the entire map. So there's a couple things we're looking throughout the night. We'll check back into the purple map as well in a second here. You mentioned Georgia. Georgia just closed. Not quite sure what's happening down there. But we got a key race down here in the southwestern part of the state. We'll watch that, see whether or not that can flip from blue to red. Big task there down here in the Bible Belt in southwestern Georgia. But let's check in right now on the governor's race. This is going to be got a couple numbers in. Estimated number is 1%.
1% in.
If you're watching at home and you're seeing this number, that's the estimated vote that's in. That's what we believe the turnout will be for this race. If this thing starts pushing 90 or 95 and you see it freeze, and it starts to backtrack a little bit, that shows you that turnout was greater than expected. However, it bumps up against 99 or 100, all votes are tabulated. Abrams lost the camp 4 years ago by 1.5 points. But 4 years ago, she has said she should be the governor in Georgia. Brian Kemp back for a rematch with Stacey Abrams. We'll watch Fulton County here in Atlanta throughout the night. While I got a minute here, let's check the Senate race as well. Okay, so Raphael Warnock has some votes now in, 7%, 70%, 7% tabulated with a lead over Walker. So then you ask yourself, well, where are the votes coming from? And here in the state of Georgia, Fulton County is going to be something we're going to watch throughout the night. I just want to draw a circle here. There are 16 counties that make up greater Atlanta, Georgia. Stacey Abrams campaigns hard there. Raphael Warnock spends a lot of time there. We're going to see throughout many of these different counties now how they're breaking throughout the evening tonight. So that's the setup, and we'll see how it goes, and I'll get that sucker cleared off too in a minute. So back to you.
Yeah,
guys.
Indiana, Kentucky, and South Carolina have been called for the Republicans.
So, I mean, in the next few minutes, we should see
So they are in the category of fast counters,
which we like. And we do like those fast counters.
And in some of these places, like as we said, they're going through the mail-in vote first. So you may see some surprising differences in some of these votes with the small margin that we have in right now. But just hang with us because there's going to be a lot of change as the rest of these numbers come in, and as we get closer to 7:30, we'll have
7:30.
more calls
We
to
have
make.
polls closing in Ohio. Republican J.D. Vance, Democratic Congressman Tim Ryan battling it out for the Senate seat. There was a really good town hall there. I don't know if you
I heard
saw
about that.
That's the seat vacated by Rob Portman. Mark Meredith is at the Vance campaign headquarters in Columbus. Good evening, Mark.
Brad and Martha, good evening to you guys. The party hasn't started here quite yet because, as you mentioned, the polls closing.
Okay,
15 minutes from now.
I haven't seen anything yet about them calling Georgia's congressional seat, but
lower turnout in Cuyahoga County, the Cleveland area, which was thought to be a big advantage for Congressman Tim Ryan. You guys talked about it. This race has been fascinating to watch because
is J.D. Vance, first-time politician, best known for
But I am
elegy. He beat out a crowded
looking forward to it. I am hoping that obviously Kemp and Walker get it.
He has certainly faced a lot of headwinds ever since the primary. I talked to his team tonight. They say
I said 8% of the vote is in.
And they believe that's going to carry over into this evening. He's been campaigning with Governor Mike DeWine, as well as
The congressional districts in Georgia, nothing's been called yet. Actually, nothing's been called.
Heavily over this race. He was in Dayton holding a rally on the eve of the election. Congressman Tim Ryan also getting a lot of attention for his campaign strategy. A Democrat here in Ohio saying he doesn't agree with the National Democratic Party. He says they didn't believe that they were focusing on the working class voters in this state. So he was trying to peel off some of those Trump voters. Obviously a lot of interest in whether or not that may play as a factor into the results tonight. But we have seen a lot from the Republicans in this state letting us know they feel very confident about the chances.
Right, South Carolina governor and senator has been called for the two Republicans.
There are some numbers from Florida. Bill Hemmer, back at the whole state doesn't close until 8 o'clock.
Oh, yeah.
There's some data right now in from the 7 o'clock close. And this is going to be a story at 6, okay? This is the governor's race in Florida. This is Ron DeSantis up against Charlie Crist. This is Miami-Dade, okay? Right now it is red. 66% of the estimated vote is in, and DeSantis leads Crist. DeSantis won his governor job 4 years ago. That year in Miami-Dade, he lost by 20 points. If this number holds up,
He's now up by 8.
right there.
It's a 28-point turnaround in 4 years.
Here, this is Marco Rubio and Val Demings. 25% of the vote is in. Back to Miami-Dade we go. A moment ago, this was blue. Now it's red. 2/3 of the estimated vote is counted, and Rubio leads Demings as well.
That's right, another 7-point advantage.
Rubio and Demings, and I'll go back to the governor's race and see how they. Well, okay.
It's about the same.
It's almost a mirror of itself. 53.6. And then on the Senate side, you've got Rubio at 53.0. If this holds up, guys, major story in Sunshine State.
That'll be huge. Because what is it? Miami-Dade is like a was forever a deep blue county. Memory serves.
First key races over here. Remember, second panel here on Florida. Maria Salazar ran in 2018. She lost. She ran in 2020. She won. Cuban American running for re-election again. This is pretty handily here. This
got a good 10-point lead there.
70% of the estimated vote. And Salazar is well ahead now by 11 points at her district. That Florida 27 right down here in Miami. A lot of Democrats live here. A lot of blue votes out there. A lot of Cuban Americans voting in that election as well. So all three of those are, as we say, on the clock as of now.
Yeah, this could be.
I think that's great. Very interesting, Bill. We just have a few seconds here. But Carl, when you look at Miami-Dade, I think it's about 70% Hispanic vote. Isn't that right?
Right. And the last time a Republican carried Miami-Dade was Jeb Bush in his 2002 re-election, where he was
20 years.
This is a really remarkable story here tonight. The transition of this historically Democratic county in the southern part of the state is part of a broader story about Florida. Think about this. In the last 4 years, they've added 600,000 new registered Republicans to the rolls in Florida and 27,000 Democrats. So we now are the first time that the Republicans have ever outnumbered Democrats in registration.
Well, Florida has changed so dramatically in the past couple of years, right? And so we'll see whether or not this is reflective of other trends across the country or whether this is a part of story that we're watching play out.
Either way, it bodes well for 2024 for the Republicans.
So we've got this brewing competition now between Mr. Trump and Governor DeSantis, which has been, obviously.
I go if
it's a big
I reckon
for DeSantis, and
it's got to be
running mates
if
in
Trump,
Florida,
that
competition a bit.
if the
Trump's something to think about.
Yes, it would.
If he does announce that he's going to run next week, like I think he is, I'm not sure what but if Trump does say he's going to run next year, I think it's a Trump DeSantis ticket. I think that will be the unbeatable combo right there. Is a Trump DeSantis?
Election night. Roll on, folks. We'll be right back.
I think that would be what you'd have to do. All right, commercial break. I can.
More mobiles, more value at Harvey Norman. Samsung Galaxy A23 5G, only $398, save $100, plus bonus $50 gift card. Get the Nokia X35G with a bonus Nokia portable wireless speaker valued at $129. Get a bonus Oppo Pad Air tablet and flip cover with the Oppo Find X5 5G for $1,399. Or step up to the X5 Pro for $1,799. Hurry, more mobiles, more value at Harvey Norman now.
Are you still cleaning your floors with a broom and dustpan?
Or down on your hands and knees with paper towels?
Or dragging out your big heavy vacuum?
Forget about it! George and Mary Beth back with another incredible invention.
It's the Zippy Sweeper, the rechargeable cordless sweeper that's lightweight and compact, with an advanced triangular design that gets into corners and features 360-degree omnidirectional cleaning.
It cleans any mess on carpets, hard floors, even long baseboards in any direction.
Watch this. It cleans dirt and dust.
All for hair.
And his trail of messy little crumbs.
It cleans up wet vegetables.
How about this confetti on the carpet?
How about this broken glass? The secret? Advanced tri-brush technology. There's a separate brush on each side of the triangular head. No matter which way you move the triangular cleaning head, the 3 high-speed spinning brushes will sweep every speck from your floor right into the built-in quick-release dirt tray.
Ordinary vacuums can miss messes in corners.
Yeah, I got to admit that one I'm looking forward to as well. Arizona, I think, is going to be really good to see, especially the governor's race in Arizona. I think Carrie Lake. I think Carrie Lake's going to carry Arizona, and Blake Masters. I think will.
The Zippy cordless sweeper is 5 times lighter than an average vacuum.
And yeah, Blake Masters will take Senate. Oh, see, I can't wait to see what the House of Representatives. I see what the House is going to look like, and obviously, I think the Republicans will probably get 52 seats, possibly 53 seats in the Senate, and I think they'll probably get about 227 seats in the House. 227, 228 seats in the House. I think that's going to be my call on it. I'm going to get it wrong horrifically, but yeah, Republicans will get 53 seats in the Senate and probably 228 seats in the House.
You can see it scrolling along the bottom of your screen. So let's listen to Alpharetta in the Central City Tavern, where Lawrence Jones is hanging out tonight. Hi, Lawrence.
Hey, good evening, my friend. The reason why we're here is because this was a place where the residents of Alpharetta hung out during the pandemic because they were shut down for about 4 weeks. But the reason why I mentioned that is because when you ask the voters, why is it not tight in the governor's race and it's tight in the Senate race, they say that they know Brian Kemp and he kept them open. He was business friendly. So let's talk with some of the voters on why they're voting for their candidate. How you doing, man? So why are you supporting the current governor as well as Herschel Walker?
Supporting the current governor because he kept the state open during COVID. I have a lot of family in New York. Big difference, so I appreciate that he kept us open and kept the businesses open.
So why is the race so tight between Raphael Warnock as well as Herschel Walker, but it seems like the governor is just surging along?
I think that Herschel does not have the name recognition, at least politically. Football-wise, he does. I don't know about politically, but I hope he can pull it off.
Yes, ma'am. Sir, what's the #1 issue for the folks of Georgia?
I'd have to say it's inflation and the economy. Everything else kind of feeds off that. So for us, that was a big part of it.
And who are you going to support in the Senate race as well as the governor's race?
I'm going to give it to Kemp because, like she said, he kept our state open. He's very pro-business. Cut the gas tax, so he's done a lot of positive things. Herschel kind of is staying along the same lines, the same kind of business idea. So we're going to kind of go for him too.
Ma'am, real quick, who did you vote for today?
Herschel and Kemp.
And the reason why?
Economy, inflation.
Thank you so much. So guys, as you recognize, as we see in our national polling, it is the same thing in Georgia. It is not about Jim Crow 2.0. It is about the economy. Record turnout here in Georgia. I'll send it back to you guys in New York.
All right, Lawrence, thank you so much. I just
There
want
you
to
go.
point out one thing. The RNC's joining a
All
coalition.
right, so 5 minutes until the polls close in Indiana, North Carolina, Ohio, and West Virginia. 5 minutes till the polls close there.
Maricopa says that they fixed them by now, but they say that hiccup, they want to extend the hours. And they've got a bunch of attorneys and volunteers on the ground working on this. We'll follow that to see if they do it. Joining us now, the man who usually sits here at 7 p.m., Jesse Waters, host of Jesse Waters Prime Time, co-host of Fine. We should point out that these chairs are a little higher. You are taller than me.
Thank you.
Okay.
I was lowered by someone, and I'm not okay with that.
I want to make sure you have it. What do you think of this election?
Well, all I have are anecdotes, and they're positive anecdotes. And I saw Miami-Dade go red, and that's a pretty big deal. I think that's a pretty big deal. And Emmer told me that if you get 2 of the 3 of the Virginia House races go Republican, we're looking at a wave. And if you get 3 of the 3 Republican, you're looking at a tsunami. So we're looking at that. And despite the Maricopa County shenanigans or incompetence, we don't know what it is at this point, I'm still hearing positive things about Republican turnout there. And I'm hearing very positive anecdotes from Nevada. Am I saying that correctly, Mr. Rove, Nevada? I think I am.
Yes.
So I had predicted
All right,
on the Five and on Jesse Waters Prime Time 53, maybe 54 if Republicans get New Hampshire. You know, Rove was a little bit more, it's kind of a bedwetter, they call him, so he was only saying 51. But the anecdotes that I'm seeing and the early data shows me that we're looking at 53, possible 54 in the Senate, and maybe get up to as high as 240 plus House seats.
We don't really need any of this data.
I mean, do we have anything else? What else do we have?
So here's a little piece of information from
Right.
Nevada.
But you know, I'm going to keep up a
office just announced the early closure of state offices in northern Nevada because of weather.
live updates from CNN, actually. I said, well, they're saying 240. I'm going to be a bit more conservative.
They say it's not snowing that badly, and this is not required.
Not as if they don't have snow in both Nevada, for God's sake.
Shut it all down from the governor.
I said, no, I don't watch
So
CNN
you see a
because I
paradigm
don't
shift.
trust
Do you think the
CNN
country changes
at all.
depending on what happens?
I do. It's going to be a powerful wave election, and it's just based on the economy and crime. It goes across every demographic. It's not like you're running on the Trump tax cuts or you're running on Obamacare. I mean, this is something that touches every single American, and they've had it, and they're going to kick the guys out, and we could all see this coming, except
All right, so there we
people,
all right.
who
Here we go. We've got
didn't see
the
it coming. And then I think tomorrow the president's going to have to say something. He's going to have to come
Okay, so at the moment,
and admit maybe something went wrong, and we'll see if he can.
Where is that?
I doubt he will, though.
Jesse, what do you think about New York? You're in New Yorker now.
let's get on with the key seats,
not
actually,
too
if we
far
can.
from here. What do you expect to happen?
All right, so we've got the key seats here of Raphael Warnock in Georgia.
And it's a toss-up. Crime's the dominant issue. I saw a lot of these.
And you know what? I'm actually going to download the Fox News app.
I was recognized a few times in my deep blue Manhattan polling precinct, so I consider that an also positive anecdote. But Kathy is a lackluster candidate who just whiffs on crime and points fingers. And if we could get a Republican in the governor's seat in Albany here in New York, you could really turn the city and the state around.
Hey, Juan, why is the president not committing to a press conference tomorrow?
Well, I imagine that he has to say something. I mean, you know what the language for it is in the past has been, this I took a whooping, I was devastated, whatever that you want to use in terms of a very active description. But I think the president has to, given what we talked about in terms of results, get a sense of what it means not only for himself and whether he runs in 24. I don't want to get scolded like Breaking for looking too far.
Sorry, I'm just installing the app so I can get a proper view on the election as well. So I'm not just watching the news. I can actually tell you guys what's going on.
Dynamic here, and I think the president wants to get a hold of it. One of the interesting things we can see out of the box data is, even though there's a high percentage of people still disapproving of the president, people aren't necessarily voting in that way. They're voting for Democrats, even though they might disapprove of the president.
4, 3, 2, 1, and polls have closed.
It is now 7:30 here on East Coast. Polls are now closed in 3 more states, including the pivotal state of Ohio.
I said Ohio is going to be interesting.
Says
Tim Ryan, J.D.
J.D. Vance has a slight lead, but the race is too early to call. He's up against Democratic House Rep Tim Ryan.
Let's go to North Carolina. Also, too early to call this one in the race between Republican Ted Budd and Democrat Sherry Beasley. They are locked in a tight race there as well.
Moving to the governor's races and again to Ohio, we can project that Republican incumbent Mike DeWine will easily win.
All right. Ohio governor has been called.
Interesting when you look at that governor's race in Ohio. He's running away with it, DeWine, and then when you look at the Senate race, it's super tight. Kelly, you have a thought on that?
Well, sure. It's a state that Trump won twice by 8 points. But I think Mike DeWine, like these other incumbent governors who are getting reelected, you're calling these races early, they're seen as being competent. I still think that even though the Democrats count on this election, Martha, as being the first post-Roe, post-pandemic, post-January 6th election, all in their favor, at the end of the day, this election is what it's always about. Do I have confidence in the competence of the people who are running the country? Right now, they know there's single-party rule in Washington. They're against that. And I think in Ohio, you see Governor DeWine
So I said,
having
at the current moment, all right,
a former congressman,
the Democrats have 37
and
seats,
convinced Ohio voters that they should stick with him because
and
he
the
has,
Republicans have 32 seats, and
I
obviously you
want to
need
go back to
31,
some of the
51 for that majority in the Senate. There's still
that
432
when Bill Clinton and Barack Obama as presidents suffered
House seats
midterm
left.
losses, they at least died on the hill that they believed in. For Obama, it was for President Obama, it was the Affordable Care Act. It was Obamacare. He believed in that. He lost all those seats in 2010. He lost seats again in 2014 on health care. For Bill Clinton, it was a big stimulus package.
Like I said, I want to keep an eye on the Senate.
There's no hill that Joe Biden is dying on this time as president.
I think that's the one where it's going to be.
It's worth us losing.
Obviously, because I do think that the Republicans will take the House. Like I said,
It did build back better. They spent
like I said, the commentators are saying probably about 240 seats for. I'm going to say probably about. I did say 228. I'm probably going to go up a little bit and probably say 236.
Recent Democratic presidents.
Yeah, we're getting word that he is now going to make a statement. We don't know if he's going to take questions at the White House. Bill Hammer, what do you got for
Hey
us?
guys, got a lot going on here because things are really starting to roll in.
But yeah, so far there's been no major updates.
We think is developing. I want to start in Georgia because we're just starting to notice a bit of a trend here. Now, and listen, it's early. Remember, in Georgia, you need 50%. If you don't get to 50%, there's a runoff 4 weeks from now on the 12th of December. This is about 11% of the vote in. Warnock's taken about 60% of the vote so far, based on the early returns.
Let's go to the Senate races by state. I'm going to.
But let me show you the governor's race now, and just look at the percentages now between the two.
So look at the Senate race here for Florida.
Throughout the night, okay? So Kemp's at 42.5.
Marco Rubio
the Senate race, and you see
with
Herschel Walker at
2.3 million votes,
seems to be for the
and
past
Deming's
6
the
years,
Democrat with 2 million. So there's about 300,000 votes
or so. We seem to see Walker trailing,
trailing there. So that's
4.5 points. So we'll watch that as to whether or not there's some sort of pattern that we're picking up on there. You know, there's a lot of talk that Kemp could get above 50% and Walker would not.
and obviously I'm keeping an eye on Georgia as well. Warnock 59.7% of the vote. Walker with 38.9. So that's
Republicans thought she was the easiest
that'll be
pick
interesting
off
there.
of the entire map. But it did not shape up that way. And Don Bolduc, the general, got in the race. He's been doing
South Carolina has been called.
Polls in the last couple of weeks suggest that he's pulling
The incumbent Republican Scott
right now,
is in there.
It's early, only 5% of the vote coming in. And we talked to Bolduc this week, and he was thinking about what we talked to the governor, Sununu, this week, and he was suggesting that down here around Rockingham County, that Bolduc is going to pick up some of the vote. He might be right about that, but right now it's not showing up.
I'm going to mark out some favorites here.
Let me go to my home state.
One of my races. So Arizona.
Ohio, you guys mentioned the governor, Mike DeWine. What's interesting about DeWine, let me click this up
keep an eye on
here,
Florida.
is that when COVID broke out,
Georgia.
you know, DeWine really, he locked down the state. He was one of the more forward-thinking governors in the entire country. And
Ohio, Pennsylvania.
In turn, and there was a time there where DeWine was on his back. You know, he was around the upper 30s, low 40s across the entire state. He made a heck of a comeback because he's a winner tonight in the state of Ohio. Let me check.
Right, so these are the ones I'm going to keep an eye on. I'm going to keep an eye on
You're at 0%, so
on these Senate races
Jim
here.
Ryan and Jiggy Vance right now, not a ton to talk about. Let me pop down to Florida because we're watching this. This is another really good example, okay? So statewide, Rubio is just under 53%. Now watch this in a moment here. I haven't seen this in a couple minutes. So you're 57% of the estimated vote in. The governor's race here is, okay, so DeSantis at 54.4, back to DeSantis. They seem to be running a lot closer than Georgia for sure, but about a point off right there in Florida statewide. But at the county level, this is one of these things that we've been watching, right? You know, what's Miami-Dade going to do? Well, I mean, right now, they are going red in a significant way. This is
massive. That's a huge 7-point lead.
The rest of the state, only because Rubio's percentage is very close to where DeSantis is right now in Miami-Dade. So far, that is.
I just want to look at the House and see what's happening in the House
Florida. One state we
of
haven't
Representatives. So far, there's been. All right, so far the Republicans have won 3 House seats. There's no more.
They left Congressional District 13.
There's no results yet so far. Any other results left?
About a little more than 27% of the vote in. Ted Budd is trailing Beasley. So let's see where the vote is now. Did you check this?
All right, so in Florida's 27th district, Salazar, the incumbent Republican Salazar has 56% of the vote, and the Democrat Tadeo has 43%. So it's a little bit.
On a percentage basis, almost 2-1 over Ted Budd. Bud's going to really have to fill in this map right here in the rural area of North Carolina. We'll see how he does that. There is an interesting House race, however, in here in North Carolina. We've been watching Republicans think they can. I haven't looked at it yet. This is Ted Budd's old seat. Remember about an hour ago we talked about redrawing the lines based on the census? This is a really good example. What Republicans
did. Yeah, I think I'm going to keep an eye on the House.
Old seat, Western Raleigh, and moved it right underneath the southern part here on the research triangle.
At the moment, I think that's going to be.
Here is your matchup. Wiley Nickel, the Democrat, up against Bo Hines, former football player. Nickel has a clear lead right now with 33% of the vote coming in. Republicans were big on Hines, so we'll see whether or not that vote total stacks up or continues to go that way in North Carolina. So listen, guys, we could spend hours here.
Yes.
Okay, we probably will.
One more second. Can you just dip into that Virginia? Is there any
Virginia? You want house races here? Okay, let's go down to Norfolk, because this is the one they thought they could flip the easiest. Oh, here's your change. Now, it's early, Brett, 15%, but Kiggins has a clear lead right now on Elaine Lurie. This part of Virginia is fascinating. Just about a year ago, I'm going to get these numbers right here, okay? Just about a year ago, in the same part of Virginia, Glenn Youngkin comes in and rolls through the state. This was a year after Biden was in the White House. Glenn Youngkin took District 2 and swung at a total of 14 points in his direction, and he won this area. Similar to Congressional District 7, right? This is Spanberger's seat running against Yesley Vega. Again, it's still too early here. Different part of the state, but this was a part of Virginia that Youngkin swung by 13 points. 12 months now we're talking about. You know, Biden goes in, takes it by 6 in this area. Youngkin flips it the other way, 7 points in a different direction now. And it's a whole different ball game, Republicans believe, in this part of Virginia. Remember what they said from the beginning. This is your bellwether for majority in the House. This is the question about whether or not there's a red wave. And this is the question as to how high that wave could or could not be. It's early.
It's early. It's early. Hey, Brett, what about these governors? They're winning with big spreads. The wine we call with, very little.
So,
it's confidence, right?
Yes, and it affects the Senate races. And in Georgia, for example, Brian Kemp he's going to win, it looks like. They're pretty confident about that. Will he win and pull Herschel Walker over the finish line? Herschel Walker is running behind him in the early information that we have.
Let's have a look at a few of these governors races.
But they're also in some places.
Walker is starting to pull back Warnock's lead, so that's good.
And it's very popular, very, very popular, more and more prominent. They wanted him to run, you may recall. The Republican Party wanted him to run. He declined to do it, stayed where he is, and we end up with Bolduc, who is, by the way, one among several of these candidates who are the Trump-backed candidates, and how they do will have an effect on things going forward. But I won't get ahead of you.
I liked it.
Can I mention anything about the governors? Because in Oregon and New Mexico, you might see flips there, partly because of also competence. You have Drazen, who is challenging Brown there in Oregon, and Mark Ronchetti could challenge Lujan Grisham, in New Mexico, those two would be a flip. But I do think that's also because those states are doing so poorly in so many areas that matter: crime, education,
So
energy.
polls are closed
border,
in Georgia
and inflation. And for good,
for the governor's race.
that we're watching really closely in Georgia.
Stacey Abrams 55.39%, and Brian Kemp with 44.1% of the vote. So, like I said, but of course that's the early vote, the early mail-in voting in Georgia. Obviously, that's what happened there, because as they said, Democrats voted by mail and they voted early, and the Republicans, majority of Republicans vote on the day. So we'll figure that one out as it happens. I'll keep an eye on that one. I'm also gonna head down to Michigan. I think Michigan will be an interesting situation there. So as soon as the votes close on that one, and I'm looking for actually, New York as well. New York is what I'm going to look for as well. New York's going to be an interesting one. Like I said, this is going to be a very, very fun. It won't be fun for on there, but I tell you what, I can't wait to see what's going to be. Oklahoma, I'm going to look at. Oregon should be interesting. Oregon could work out pretty well. Pennsylvania is going to be, not just for the. I think Philadelphia, the governor's race there in Philadelphia will be very, very interesting.
The easy fold feature makes it simple to store and large LCD screen tracks your progress.
After only 3 weeks, I lost 20 centimeters. I feel 10 years younger.
So yeah, South Carolina has been called in the governor's races. Called for McMaster, the incumbent Republican.
Call 0293874100 or get to cleverorange.com.au. Get your circulation cycle and get free online workout videos, plus free postage anywhere in Australia. Only the first 27 orders right now get the best-selling 7-piece Diamond Earth cookware collection absolutely free.
Alright, so it says Alaska, nothing yet.
Faster and cleaning even easier.
Arizona, nothing yet. Colorado, nothing yet. Connecticut, nothing yet. Here in Florida, DeSantis has a 12-point lead over Charlie Crist.
So what are you waiting for? We guarantee you'll see results fast. If not,
And the vote's coming in. 63.92% of the vote is in, and Ron DeSantis has a 12-point lead. So should be getting very close in there. Should be good. Georgia, 14% of the vote is in. Stacey Abrams, 65%. Brian Kemp, 44%. Obviously, too early to close. 16 minutes until we get to the Pennsylvania race. That'll be interesting.
Probably the most watched Senate race of the entire midterms. Dr. Oz versus John Fetterman. Rich Edson joins us live at Fetterman's campaign headquarters tonight. Hi, Rich.
Hey, good evening, Martha. One of the candidates here,
I'm trying to keep an eye on the states now.
10 miles from here, still at home in Braddock, Pennsylvania. That's where he's from. That's where he's mayor. It's where he lives, and so he's not quite at this event tonight. He'll come here after the polls close at 8 p.m. Campaign tells us one of the counties.
15 minutes until the polls close up.
Pennsylvania. That's in the northwest corner of the state. As a bellwether as to how things are going to unfold once they start to get some of these confirms come in, and once that information begins to get public here.
Like I said, I'm definitely more focused on Georgia at the moment, so I'm going to stay on Georgia just for a while.
67 counties in Pennsylvania. They all have a little bit different way of counting ballots, and since 2020, when they went to a massive mail-in voting system, all have been doing and counting that in different procedures, and a little bit of that is coming out right now. Here in Allegheny County, officials tell us they had 155,000 mail-in votes come in. They managed to count all of them by 3 p.m. They have another outstanding 1,000 or so that they're going to work through counting and processing through the rest of the evening. That's the picture there. There is Luzerne County. They had a bit of a a printing issue. They ran out of paper there, so that's the only county where they're going to have polls close at 10 p.m. tonight as opposed to 8 p.m. for the rest of the state. Big news here from the Betterment campaign is that they sued a couple of days ago when it came to ballots and writing the date on the back of them. State law says when you sign in your mail-in ballot, you got to put the date on it. The Supreme Court sided with Republicans who sued and said you got to throw those ballots out. The Betterment campaign is saying you got to count them. Back to you, Martha.
All right, Rich, thank you very much. We'll be back there throughout the night.
Shannon Bream has been tracking our Fox News voter analysis. We have the latest, Shannon.
It's 31 Senate seats left in play, so
And guess what, voters
that'll be an interesting situation. We've got 432 House seats.
Our Fox News voter analysis finds 3/4 are dissatisfied or downright angry at the way the federal government is working. So let's dig into this. This heat map tells us where those colors are most intense. That's where people are strongest in feeling this way. The sentiment is strongest in the Rocky Mountain and Northern Plains states. Wyoming, by the way, lodges the highest rate of disapproval with the federal government. 87% of people there say they're very unhappy, and that could be
Damn,
bad
I feel
for
bad.
incumbents for the White
All right.
House Democrats tonight.
Wyoming's a
Now,
bit
in
there.
Georgia, one of those incumbents, Democrat Senator Raphael Warnock, is fighting for re-election, facing Trump-backed football legend Herschel Walker. Voters there say the balance of power in Washington, specifically how it's going to settle in the Senate, will actually shape their vote. More than half say it is the single most important thing that they're considering when casting a ballot. Now, among that particular group, folks are splitting their votes between the two candidates, so no advantage there. But Georgia is not the only state where people are on the lookout for that Senate seat, hoping to make a turnover and get rid of the incumbents, at least Republicans there. Now, in North Carolina, there's a
I'm
competitive race.
very curious
The seat that
about.
is about to be vacated by
I
retiring
said there's been a couple, like I said,
Senator
Ohio,
Richard
Georgia,
Democrat Jerry Beasley is
Pennsylvania,
challenging
New
Democrat
York,
Trump-backed
Arizona.
candidate, Republican Ted Budd.
I think
Nearly
they're
6
the
in
ones that
10
I'm
in the
really
target
focused
state.
on and really
They've got
interested
a
in.
negative opinion of President Biden. Now, President Trump fares better there. Will that be enough to help Bud? Keep in mind, nearly 6 in 10 give Democratic Governor Roy Cooper a thumbs up on the job that he's doing. Will that help Beasley? Got a whole lot more data to crunch. It's all filtering in now, but Martha, back to you. Thank you very much, Shannon. So, why is everyone so unhappy in Wyoming, Dana? When Shannon said that.
Yeah, I'm not too sure about Washington. Washington will be an interesting. Washington State, I think, will be a very interesting, interesting race. If the Republicans can finish within about 5 points, that will definitely be, I think, a massive shock to the Democrat Party in Washington State. I think, and the same in Oregon as well. If the Republicans can finish within 5 points, yeah, Democrat Party's really going to have to,
impact all of
be
this
concerned.
has when you talk about the economy.
Well, it's a big impact, Brett and Martha. Good to see you. Right now, what I'm watching is the energy producing states. I think investors are anticipating a big change should we get this red wave that so many people have been talking about. And so you want to really look at Texas, Wyoming, Pennsylvania, Louisiana, West Virginia, Oklahoma.
Yeah, I know.
These are the leading energy
But
producing
you voted,
states,
and you know what? That's all you can do. You know what I mean?
largely energy policy.
One
That
vote
will
can make a
change
difference
or at
in
least
anything.
get
So,
slowed down the Biden
like I said, I'm going to
climate
play.
change agenda, slow down
When it
should
comes
we
down to
see
it,
a big GOP win.
please vote. You know what I mean?
It is all about
That's what
inflation.
helps. You know what I mean?
Say the root cause of inflation is the COVID-19 relief package passed into law back in March of 2021. So all of that spending, beginning with that March of 2021 package and the other packages that we've seen, has created $5 trillion.
In 24, you're voting for Baby Yoda.
Is this the change agenda the Biden administration is pushing so aggressively that the Republicans will likely
Yeah,
want
Baby
to
Yoda has the right-in vote in Washington State.
especially when it comes to clean energy, they will push back on the climate change agenda. And so that's really where I'm focused tonight. I should point out that the price of oil has skyrocketed since President Biden started selling oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. We're talking about oil now back up to the $90 a barrel level. Even though gasoline prices are above where they were when Joe Biden took office, of course, they are lower in the last year, but still elevated. So it is all about inflation. Another issue that investors are watching with regards
This
to
is the thing that really annoyed me about Biden.
essential
He did this last week, 2 weeks ago. I forget exactly when, but he claimed that when he took office, gasoline was at $5 a gallon. That's an insane amount of bullshit. That's just no. When Biden took office, gasoline was $2.39. The average price of gas was $2.39 a gallon, right? Price of gasoline now is what, $3.40?
To feel that we
330, 340 around that one.
That's going to be one of the main issues that Republicans take on. Also, of course, fiscal
Have fun with that one.
I mentioned the COVID relief package and all of the other spending, $5 trillion in borrowing. If the Republicans can get a victory
Just have a quick look here at a few of the.
We will likely see fiscal spending slow down, and that is also something that investors will be focused on tomorrow.
459 in Washington, huh?
If we see a big win by the GOP, expect a big rally in stocks tomorrow. The next big catalyst for markets and the economy comes Thursday when we get the next.
All right, there are 431 House seats left in play.
The month of October.
At the moment, the seats are Republicans are 4. Democrats don't have any seats in the House at the moment.
In consumer prices.
But obviously, there's still 431 seats left. But at the moment, it's looking pretty good.
2016, late in the night. You made a lot of money. You made a lot of money. So quickly, Maria, does the market like divided government?
The market does like divided government, and that's what we're likely to see if, in fact, this pans out. If the Republicans are in charge of the House and Senate and the Democrats are in charge.
We've got a few key Senate races here. We're going to take it back to Georgia.
And investors like that. They don't want to see higher taxes. They certainly don't want
Herschel Walker has pulled up. He's pulling up a little bit more. He was at last I saw, he was at 38%. He's now at 42% of the vote. So he's pulled it up.
And so that, along with taxes, if
Yeesh.
the GOP wins again in a big way tonight, you don't expect tax increases for the next 2 years at least. So that's another thing that markets will celebrate. I would expect a pretty good day in the markets if the GOP has a good night tonight.
All right,
No, 5% of the vote in Ohio.
Interesting when the president used an opportunity to
Tim Ryan has the advantage, 62.9% to JD Vance's 37%.
Sort of a tinnier with the moment that we're in. It reminded me of when Hillary Clinton sat around the table with the coal miners and they wanted to know what was up. You know, why are you doing
All right, at the moment, right now, I'm looking at Pennsylvania.
If there is a
Pennsylvania is going to close in about 12 minutes.
If things change a bit, that gives the president a little bit of room to maybe bend in a slightly different direction on energy independence.
Well, he's got to do politically to accomplish things. If he loses control of both houses, he's going to have to bend.
Right, so I think Pennsylvania is
for me
will be a massive.
Okay, I'm going to go back to being the Joe Biden I used to be. Everybody knew Mitch McConnell and you were friends and negotiated.
You know, this is what happens when you'll make Democrats who hate America.
Ben Domenech was discussing this with us this afternoon. Ben's view is that he'll lose all these moderates if he loses. The party will lose those moderates, and it'll be ever more populated than it was before with lefties, and it'll be hard for him to move in that direction.
Just a lot will depend on what he decides about.
I'm not sure I agree with that, but that's an interesting perspective.
Says I'm here in my red shirt.
Right after
Well, mainly because
oil companies should produce more.
I know you didn't vote Democrat.
It was definitely a mixed message.
So in Florida, DeSantis has 68% of the vote, the governor, and Rubio's got 55% of the vote for the Senate. Kemp closing in on Abrams, and Walker closing in on Warnock in the Georgia Senate and governor seat. So
he's saying, why are you putting me at a disadvantage with my constituents? But
I said 5 minutes until the next polls close.
It's a real motivator for Democratic voters. It is one of their key.
It could be a very interesting. It'll be a very long night. I know that much.
From the Fox exit polls, there's a constellation of issues, as they call it, that appeal to Democrats and got Democrats to the polls tonight to the extent that we'll find out how much of a turnout there was. But that constellation includes abortion, includes climate change in a big way.
Trey?
To my friend Juan, West Virginia, Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton did not win a single solitary county in that state. So it is as red as you can get. I will defend Joe Biden. There's some talk that he's not going to give a statement tomorrow. I actually got a copy of his statement already. I exercise my right to remain silent under the Fifth Amendment because there is no good explanation.
Well, I was going to also respond to why President Biden is not committed to a press conference tomorrow because he's already going to a funeral for democracy. So that's already on his schedule. But going back to what Maria was saying about the states she's watching in terms of energy producing states. That's great in terms of jobs. The regulations the administration has put on to oil and gas companies, so they berate them and say they should bring gas prices down. But every single state in the country is a consumer of oil and gas, especially states in the Northeast like New York and New Hampshire and Pennsylvania, where these issues of cost and inflation have gone way up as a result of Joe Biden's war on energy. And so it'll be interesting to see if that plays out at the end of the night.
Yeah, 500,000 energy jobs in Western Pennsylvania.
There you go.
Alone.
Coming up, we are minutes away from the top of the hour. Another big batch of election results. We could have some calls. Tucker Carlson joins us with his thoughts on the night so far.
And more coming up with Bill Hemmer at the big board. Stay with us. We'll be right back with more of Democracy 2022.
All right, we're at the commercial. Good. All right. Sit back and read. Talk amongst yourselves.
PhD, only $59. Save $50 on the Google Nest Hub 2nd Gen. Now $98. Secure your home with the Swan Extreme wire-free 4-camera value pack. Now $898. Save $100. Or the Arlo Pro 4 4-camera kit with covered night vision. Save $260 plus $150 cashback. See your connected home specialists now at Harvey Norman.
The things we use every day are only possible thanks to Australian metals and minerals. Achieving a more sustainable and cleaner future will continue to depend on Australia's natural resources. Join us and make a difference.
This Christmas, give the perfect gift from Snapfish. Fantastic photo gifts that celebrate your special moments, the fun times, moments to remember. Simply upload your favorite photos, choose from stylish designs, and add your images. In minutes, create a stunning photo book full of your amazing memories for only $9.95. Or relive a special year with a wall calendar for just $7.95. A range of gifts that will make this Christmas one to remember. Order now at snapfish.com.au.
Transfer your existing credit card balance into the Citi Clear Card. It's a 3-year break from interest that tips the balance in your favour. There's way more to a Citi card. The Citi Clear Card. Apply now.
This Black Friday, get 50% off the Emma Comfort Mattress, Choice's top scoring mattress for 2021 and 2022. Discover how restful nights can make colourful days thanks to our 100-night trial. Simply reap the rewards of better sleep with up to 50% off site-wide in our Black Friday sale. Awaken your best at emma-sleep.com.au today.
Say goodbye to those holiday season stains. Deep clean your carpets, furniture and cars the easy way with the Bissell Revolution. It out-cleans faulty rentals like Britex and Rug Doctor for a professional-looking clean whenever you want. It's lightweight and agile, and the special Express Clean mode leaves carpets dry in about 30 minutes. Its features, tools and formulas are designed to clean up the toughest of messes. To see it in action, visit these leading retailers.
Critical hour as polls close across 21 states, including 2 pivotal battlegrounds. Pennsylvania.
We're going to have a new birth of freedom.
This is a time for real hope. There's so much at stake in this race.
You can't be free if you're not brave.
Florida.
I'm not backing down. I'm ready for a fight.
We will send shockwaves across this country.
We will continue to fight and fight and fight for more.
That's why we vote. That's why we're going to win.
The future of our nation is on the line. 161 House seats, 10 Senate seats, and 12 governorships. Which party will take control? What happens in this hour could change everything.
It is 8 o'clock in New York, and polls have just closed in 16 more states. We start in the critical battleground of Pennsylvania, where the Fox News decision desk says it's too early to call this race. Pennsylvania is another historically slow counting state, so it could be, warning here, a long night for both Dr. Oz and Lieutenant Governor Jim.
All right, here we go.
We'll keep you updated on that.
It is also too early to call New Hampshire, the Senate race there between incumbent Democrat Maggie Hassan and Republican Don Bolduc. Hassan won this seat by just over 1,000 votes.
They've called the Senate seat for Marco Rubio.
For re-election in this cycle.
Oh, that Brian Kemp has caught up with Stacey Abrams in the vote. And Walker's catching up to Warnock.
Rubio has defeated Democratic Representative Val Demings with millions of votes in. That's a big win for Rubio. Was expected, but some of those percentages in Miami-Dade and other counties where he hadn't won before.
Yeah.
Pretty stunning.
Yeah, very notable what's happening in Florida tonight. Over to Illinois, where Democratic Senator Tammy Duckworth has a lead. That race is too early to call at this hour.
In Missouri, the race between Republican Eric Schmidt and Democratic candidate Trudy Bush Valentine, also too early to call, but Schmidt has a lead there.
Richard Blumenthal in Connecticut has a lead in his home state. This one also too early to call.
Interesting. In Maryland, Senator Chris Van Hollen will win his race, defeating GOP candidate Chris Chafee. And we can also call the Alabama Senate race, where Republican Katie Britt is projected to win. She takes over the seat from Senator Shelby.
Yeah, looks pretty close there. You sure you're ready to call that?
Yeah, we're ready. Chief of staff, she was this chief of staff.
Two races in Oklahoma, both too early to call, but both Republican candidates lead at this point. In the first, James Lankford fighting for a second full term. And in the special election, Republican Markwayne Mullen is hoping to replace Senator Jim Inhofe.
All right, so let's take a look at the balance of power as we see it. 34-38. Again, the white are the ones we haven't yet called. Majority is 51. It stands now at 50-50. So we'll be tracking that all night. Moving to the governor's races in Florida, the Fox News decision desk projects
I've called it.
Ron DeSantis.
Yes, DeSantis gets the victory.
Again, the margins here are eye-popping, and we'll let Rick talk about all of that in just a bit.
I'm going to end the stream here. No, I won't actually. I'll keep going on with this one.
Long-lasting ramifications that Britt will fill us in a moment. Let's go to the Pennsylvania governor race. Josh Shapiro has a very strong lead there against Doug Mastriano. This one is also too early to call. There's 3% of the vote in that race.
At this hour, the Oklahoma governor race, too early to call. Democrat Joy Hoffmeister is running against Republican incumbent Kevin Stitt. This was rocky for a bit, but it's too early to call at that time.
Not enough data to call the race in Maine, though Governor Janet Mills has a lead against her predecessor, who was going for another round as governor there. We'll see what happens there. Paul LePage.
And in Massachusetts, we can project that Maura Haley will be the next governor of the Bay State, right next door in Maryland. Fox News can also project that Wes Moore will replace term-limited Republican governor Larry Hogan. So that goes to the Democrats.
And the Fox News decision desk says Governor Chris Sununu has a lead in the great state of New Hampshire. Numbers still coming in.
Connecticut, Democratic Governor Ted Lamont has a lead against GOP candidate Bob Stefanowski.
Also not enough data in this one. This is Governor Dan McKee, who will take his first full term in office in Rhode Island. He is the incumbent there against Callis in Rhode Island.
J.B. Pritzker also has a lead for a second term in Illinois. Expect that to go Democrat, but it's too early to call.
Alabama, we can project that Governor Kay Ivey will win a second term in the state of Alabama.
And finally, Fox News projects Republican Bill Lee wins in Tennessee. He will remain the governor of the volunteer state.
And we can also project Governor Phil Scott, the Republican, will win a fourth term in office. He defeats Democrat Brenda Siegel.
Okay, I think that's the races we have.
Break. So we're still waiting for a lot of numbers to come in here. We're getting some early indications in places like
But let's just digest that Florida race.
Yeah.
I mean, that is eye-popping there.
Yeah, so again, I think Governor DeSantis, who had a tough election his first time around, has shown himself to be a very competent governor who really listens to the people of Florida, responds to them. You know, he was very
a very different governor when it came to COVID. You know, people fleeing from the New England states in order to move there because the schools were opened. And he runs the state very well. And he wasn't afraid also to reach out to different people. And that number in Miami-Dade, if that holds true, it would be great to get some Karl Rove analysis on that as well as Florida. He remembers the election in 2000, a big deal. The interesting thing about his opponent, Charlie Crist, I don't know if you would have realized this, that if he would be the first person in Florida to lose a statewide race as a Republican, an independent, and a Democrat.
Wow.
There's a Texas campaign headquarters right now exploding in Tampa tonight.
I think they're watching Fox. We welcome Harold Ford Jr., former Tennessee congressman, co-host of The Five. Welcome to the panel. With this big Republican win, we'd love you to weigh in. But I do want to read this. This is from David Plouffe, the President Obama's 08 campaign manager, who said, quote, "The Obama coalition in Florida is gone."
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty stunning. If you look at the numbers here, Miami-Dade County, Hillsborough County, Osceola County, these are places they did not win. Republicans. Now they're winning in big numbers.
Well, Democrats have proved, I think, not to be able to adapt to changing political circumstances in a situation. Clearly, we've gone through COVID, all the things that's gone from it, from supply chain challenges to the challenge of getting our kids back to school. Governor DeSantis is being rewarded for that. And I think if you're going to counter him, you have to counter him with substance. You've got to counter him with an alternative course that's going to make life better for citizens in Florida. And frankly, it doesn't look as if the three-time, you say he lost a Democrat, a Republican, independent, Congressman Chris, Governor Chris was not able to mount that message. If you Governor DeSantis, this win tonight, I think in many ways, not only roils Democrats, but it also helps, it will roil Republicans as well, because some choices are going to have to be made very soon about whom is the national leader, who's the leader of the party for Republicans. Is it Ron DeSantis? Is it Donald Trump? Or is it someone else? But tonight is a night for Governor DeSantis. Congratulations to him. Well
Let's bring in Ben Donnett. Ben, we talked a little bit about governors and how they are elected or reelected based on competence. And I think back to Hurricane Ian just a short time ago. People got their power back on, I think, in record time. And it wasn't the kind of situation where you're going around the state and people are saying, I keep calling the governor and nothing's happening. In fact, they were saying exactly the opposite. They were lauding his performance.
He was proving that he could build a bridge in 3 days and things like that. Look, what's happened in Florida has to take over the conversation tomorrow, no matter what the rest of the night holds. This is a huge sea change. And as Dana said, as Carl remembers, this is a situation that I think we could never have anticipated.
So yeah, what's that? This is the first time in 20 years that Miami-Dade has actually gone red. So
it just is an indictment, I think, not of just the other side, but of the White House's approach to this election. If you were focused on issues that were on social media, issues like abortion, guns, climate, etc., I think you lost the forest for the trees. You were paying attention to issues that might matter to your progressive base online, but they're not present at the kitchen table where people are trying to make ends meet and where they do prize the kind of competence that you're talking about and keeping things open even during the intense time of COVID.
I just want to say, it's a place that during COVID, it became sort of the option, right? People said, I want to move to Florida because of this. So they were choosing where they wanted to live based on the way that the state was handling it.
And they stayed. That's the key. They stayed. They re-registered to vote. And Ron DeSantis takes credit for all of that. Also, he's really done some great investments in workforce development. I think the Republican Party becoming the party of the worker, a plus 12 shift from 2010, Martha, on the number of blue-collar workers who call themselves Republicans. It's got to do with these great governors. Mike Pence is one a long time ago who did it, saying, I'm going to invest in technical, vocational, educational opportunities. Not everyone has college materials, so what? We need welders and carpenters and pipe fitters. Now you have Joe Biden saying they should be paying for the student loans of doctors and lawyers. I just wanted to point out one thing. In Charlie Crist's congressional seat, we're about to flip that. Pinellas County, Brett, with a female Hispanic veteran named Ana Paulina Luna. Keep your eye on her. 95% of the vote is in. She's up by 8,000 votes. It's huge. It's Charlie Crist's congressional district. Not only has he lost 3 times, been with 3 different parties, but we take his congressional seat with what is the growing trend for Republican candidates, female Hispanic veteran. Huge.
Well, you haven't mentioned the former president, but you do use his terminology.
I live in Florida now, and back when he was in the House, DeSantis, I used to see him around Fox News in Washington. And he seemed to be kind of a standard issue Republican conservative congressman with no particular distinction. And he ran, you may recall, the nomination for governor against Adam Putnam, who had been in the House.
We did a debate between Putnam and DeSantis.
Exactly, and Putnam was thought a rising star in the GOP for a long time, and he's a very able guy. And I remember he said to me when I was talking to him, he said he didn't think DeSantis wanted to be governor. He thought he wanted to run for the Senate, but there was no real opening there, so he ran for governor. Well, look now. I mean, he had the stones to stand up to the medical establishment, the political establishment, to the Democrats and the media in the state of Florida on COVID, which I think is where he really made his mark and was willing and took the chance and believed in his own the advice he was getting from his medical advisors. And I think it's played out for him, and now he is where he is.
And we shouldn't overlook the win by Marco Rubio.
Right, so I'm going to end this stream just for the moment. Maybe I'll just call this part one.
From Florida, former police chief from Orlando. It's not close, and in some of these counties, it's equal or greater than DeSantis' spread. Okay, let's head over to Bill Hemmer. Back where we stand so far.
Yeah, I'm going to stir the pot here a little bit.
All right, so I'm going to end the stream here, just because, well, I got to sit and relax. Sitting up straight. All right, I'll be back in a few hours until we get some more results in, and then I'll keep the results coming in. All right, thanks for watching. I'll be back in a few. I'll be back once more results come in. All right, thank you for watching. Bye.
This is 4 to 13 right here. This is Anna Paulina Luna, about 99%, and she's going to